Yeah, is it on air? Pippin of Minnesota? Pippin's back. Hey, Sarah.
Get that. I'm a Spawn kind of guy myself, so. Damn, dude, they do got some sick ass shit now. Where was that shit when I was in Navy?
Good luck. Big earthquakes coming soon. Okay, does this mean we're actually live? You can hear me on this microphone? Hello, Pippin of Minnesota. Ah, North Runner, the Ravandi. Hello, Hannah. Hannah Took. Impecunious. She sure did get a good deal on that. All right. Are we live? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me. Good. Okay. I'm flying blind right now, but welcome to Torn Tuesday. I'm just looking around to make sure that everything that I expect to be in place is in place. Justin, we're live. Everything's good? Ha 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 ha. Hey, Spirited Book. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. So we are live, yes, good. We better be. As long as we're live, that makes me happy. I'm just reading the chat right now thinking, this is intriguing. You guys are actually talking about Batman versus Superman right now. Okay, well, ha 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 ha. I'm going to proceed with the assumption that you can all hear me. Yes? Hey, everybody in the chat room, raise your hand and give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I can hear the sound of my own voice coming through the television. Is that? Yeah, we need to lower the TV. Oh, I do. Yes. Oh, good. I'm fine. Good. Here. I'll show you how to turn that down. There you go. Justin's got that. All right. Hey, everybody, look at that. Well, we only talked about Batman versus Superman last week for just a little bit. Just enough to, you know, make a couple of arguments about it. Justin was like, why should I go see it? Why should I bother going to see it when everyone says it's so negative? And I personally, I didn't have overwhelmingly negative things to say about Batman versus Superman. Like, all of you guys here in the chat room have already made up your minds. Oh, I have no desire to see that. I have no idea. Well, okay. If you don't have any desire to see it, then watch the DC Extended Universe shrivel up on the vine before the grapes of wrath are even ready to be plucked. That's too bad, though, because I'll tell you the truth, I'm looking forward to the Wonder Woman movie, and the best part about Batman versus Superman was obviously Gal Gadot. She was fantastic, and the whole entire movie pretty much plays out like a special expanded sneak preview of her story. Like, who cares about Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck beating each other up? It was much more interesting when she was on screen. And yeah, like Hannah said, it wasn't bad. It was just, well, it was just crowded, dark, ham-fisted with the way it handled its plot. And there was some obvious writing problems. But I do have to say that there were a couple of action scenes that were pretty darn good. Okay, Pippin of Minnesota, how do you know the DC movie universe is awful? Okay, this is a conceptual argument that you might be making prematurely, Pippin, my dear Sarah, because none of the other DC universe movies are even out yet, like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, or Justice League, or any of those other things. So yeah, the Suicide Squad itself, thank you Spirited Book for mentioning that. Yes, they are reshooting some scenes in the Suicide Squad. Yep, I believe it. I believe that in response to this movie, DC might be making some changes. Yes, but that's interesting, Erovandi. You don't mind superhero movies, but I don't like the super dark ones. For example, Watchmen. That qualifies as one of the super dark ones. But that's all it's another Zack Snyder film. And Zack Snyder, thoroughly entrenched within the DC universe now, has decided to make the DC universe a lot darker. And so that's what he's doing, making the DC universe a lot darker. So anyways, there's going to be a significant departure from The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins. All that Christopher Nolan stuff is kind of set over in one side pocket of the pool table. The rest of the DC Extended Universe is going to grow and breathe beyond that visualization of that universe. But anyways, yeah, well, Spirited Book. It's also true that Batman kills people quite a lot in other films, including Tim Burton's Batman Returns. Other people die at the hands of Batman in other iterations of the story, including a couple of the animated versions that are made by Warner Brothers Feature Animation that are released straight to home video. And it's also the case that Batman killed a few people in a couple of the Christopher Nolan films. It's actually true. But most notably in the dark alternative history storylines that are presented by Frank Miller. In the Frank Miller version of Batman, in the comic books, Batman is also without compunction in killing people. So, you know, hey, there's that too. But I'm not here to talk about Batman versus Superman, and you guys are not here to talk about the DC Extended Universe. Welcome to Torn Tuesday. That's right. I don't know where Justin is, but hopefully Justin will come back and join me on this little live chat. Hopefully. Hi, Fokowena. Hello, Anonymous, 121. Okay. Oh, hey, Spirited Book has some hardcore inner nerd rage. That's okay. I like your inner nerd rage. Let it happen. But don't worry about what's happening in the DC universe, because tonight, if you stay up late enough tonight and watch Jimmy Kimmel, you Benedict Cumberbatch fans are going to get a special treat. That's right. the very first teaser trailer for Marvel's Doctor Strange. That's right. Marvel's new. Very exciting. I'm very excited about this because Benedict Cumberbatch is going to play the lead role of Dr. Stephen Strange. And I'm really, really intrigued by this character. He is my favorite character in the Marvel Universe. And we get to see the teaser trailer tonight, featured by Benedict himself on the Jimmy Kimmel Show later on. What song needs to get out of your head? Oh yeah, good question. When does Doctor Strange come out? Let's see. Doctor Strange release date. November 4th, 2016, this coming November. Right this year. Yes. Yeah, that's right. The trailer for the first teaser trailer for Doctor Strange is going to be out tonight. And on Jimmy Kimmel, and all you Benedict Cumberbatch fans who are thinking, I've seen The Imitation Game, and I've seen a lot of Sherlock, and I've seen a lot of the Hobbit movies. Of course, you guys have seen a lot of those, so I'm quite sure. It's going to be an intriguing night. So, here's something interesting that crossed my research today while I was talking a little bit about I was reading a bit about Professor Tolkien. No. Yes, that's right, Marfles. Yeah, it doesn't come out until November, but the teaser trailer is going to be online, and you know why? Because Marfles, the movie studios, want to put the teaser trailers online and see what the buzz is all about. They want to observe, after the trailer's online, how many millions of hits they get. So, that's what it's all about. And if it gets millions and millions and millions of views, just from a teaser trailer, then, you know, they're all going to be very excited. That means that Doctor Strange is going to do really, really well. And of course, we've already got the second teaser, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, coming out in the same month. Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you for mentioning that in the live chat. Hello, Emily. Hello, everybody. I want to say hi, Sarah. Let's talk for a moment about the Rogue One teaser trailer. Wasn't that something? Yeah. There. That's my commentary on the Rogue One teaser trailer. That's how excited I was about that. I lost complete track of my own brain cells. When I saw the Rogue One trailer, I was like, holy cannoli, this actually looks like a war film, like a lot of other commentators have said online. And Star Wars, which has the word war in the title, has never really looked like a war film. But now, this Rogue One movie trailer, just from the little bits that we've seen, it looks like an actual war film. And I'm like, really exciting, yes. And I'm going to probably be that way about the Doctor Strange trailer tonight as well. Yes, oh yes, Rogue One, good stuff. I like seeing Forrest Whitaker, and I like seeing some really interesting elements of what you'd call classic trilogy Star Wars, like that tall, pale actress who plays Mon Mothma. She looks exactly like her. She looks exactly like the original actress who played Mon Mothma in The Empire Strikes Back, who says many Bothans died to get this information. Yes, it's true. So let me type up that. Here she is, Mon Mothma, Star Wars character. Yes. Okay. Here she is in the Star Wars database. She opposed Supreme Chancellor Palpatine's policies during the final days of the Republic. Nice. Mon Mothma. Okay. In Wikipedia. This is just so cool. And, moviepilot.com says, boy, she sure has changed since we last saw her. I don't know about that. She looks exactly the same. Pippin of Minnesota. Cute. Jar Jar Binks being a Sith. That's funny. So funny. No, I don't think she's changed at all. Okay, what? Movie Pilot is just doing crazy stuff, stupid stuff on me. This is posted on April 8th on moviepilot.com. Well, you've seen the trailer, okay. The new Star Wars movie that's everyone's freaking out. Mon Mothma is back and she's looking more Mon Mothma-y than ever. Beautiful bit of casting. I don't know who the actress is, but she looks so much like her and it's really awesome. Really, really awesome. So, the original Mon Mothma, Caroline Blackiston, who is now 83 years old, and thus a little too old to play the rebel leader in the prequel. So, they cast a new actress named Genevieve O'Reilly. Right? Okay. So it's the same Mon Mothma character with the same actress that we saw in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Oh, really? Okay, but it says here, O'Reilly's scenes in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, were largely left on the cutting room floor, but it seems that we're now finally getting the chance to see her return to the Star Wars universe in exactly the sort of key role the character has always been felt by fans to deserve. I think she looks fantastic. Yeah, looks great. Okay, here you go. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Take a look at this. I'm going to put this side by side, guys, so you can see. Okay, sorry my tablet is messing it up, but there you go. Look at how remarkable that is. Looks just like her. Yeah, that's right, Eravandi. The name slightly reminds me of that, too. So, here's an interesting thing. I went through a book here in my research. Yeah, she's in a deleted scene, Sarah, thank you, that's right. Moviepilot.com and the other websites I'm looking at are telling me the exact same thing that all you people are telling me live in the chat room. I'm so glad that you guys are live in the chat room with me. It's really, really very good to have your support. But here's an interesting little book that I got as a gift. It was written by Gary Raymond. It's an unauthorized biography of Professor Tolkien. And here it is. It's called 3 Minute, see the purple? 3 Minute J.R.R. Tolkien. This is a book that I recommend because it's got lots of really, really, really good, cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff that has been crystallized down into tiny little bits. Hey, that's right. What happened, Pippin? Are you now Snape? Snape 17? Well, all of a sudden you're Snape 17 now. Well, that's okay. The whole story is all about Severus, anyways, Severus Snape. And we were going to talk about Joanne K. Rowling, and we're going to talk about Harry Potter in connection with the subject of the early years of Professor J.R.R. Tolkien and his efforts to get The Hobbit published. So where did I get this book? Yeah, I think, was this a gift? This was a gift from someone. It was a really, really lovely gift, and I may have forgotten who gave this to me. This book is called 3 Minute Tolkien, okay? 3 Minute Tolkien. And it's written by Gary Raymond. It's an unauthorized biography, okay? The foreword, actual foreword, was written by our favorite artist, John Howe. Everybody know who John Howe is? Yes? There you go. John Howe. Remember John Howe? Everybody loves John Howe's artwork. Yes. So, here's the 1991 Tolkien calendar with some original new art by John Howe. Oh my goodness. How about that? One of my favorite images from John Howe, The Dark Tower. Isn't that amazing? Tower. That's from February 1991. So here's the scoop. This is a really interesting little book, 3 Minute J.R.R. Tolkien, and on each page, for example, here you go. Here's a page about Professor Tolkien's childhood, and it's broken down into 3 sections. 1, 2, 3. Right down here, 3. And each one takes 1 minute to read and digest, and it's filled with critical facts, really succinct, put right down into a button on each page. Okay, here you go. Oxford Life. Here's a 3-minute page about Professor Tolkien's Oxford Life. 1, 2, 3. And here's another one. The children's author. This is where Professor Tolkien started to concern himself with what his other compatriots at Oxford were going to think about him writing a children's book. See? And there's little pictures and little references, and it's called 3-Minute Tolkien. And each one of these pages, literally, is a 3-minute little bit. All right, here you go. It goes all the way to the end of the past 12 or 15-year journey we've had with Peter Jackson, winning Oscars. See that? Winning Oscars. Talks all about Peter Jackson's work on the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and then his work on the Hobbit trilogy. Who's that? Oh, it's Guillermo del Toro. All right. And also Tolkien's influence on movies, music, Led Zeppelin. It's all in here. There's pages and pages. Oh, look. Enduring popularity. 3 minutes to learn about Tolkien's enduring popularity. See that? So I recommend this really cool book. And what's more interesting, and this is something that I knew, I knew this completely, but now what's intriguing about this is that I go back in time by looking at some of the early details of how the book, The Hobbit, made its journey from first manuscript to actually being published, and it was a really interesting single person, one single human being named Elaine Griffiths, who might be single-handedly responsible for all the rest of the world discovering J.R.R. Tolkien. Now let me read this to you. This is really interesting. It says right here on this page, writing The Hobbit in 3 minutes. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I know, Fukuena. You could read all this in less than 3 minutes, but if you were studying for a test and you were trying to absorb like a sponge all these dirty details, then 3 minutes might be just the appropriate type of what you'd call, it just might be the most appropriate type of absorption rate for your brain to absorb everything. But this is really, really, really intriguing. I'm going to read this to you right quick, and let's see if I can read this in less than a minute. One of the few people to have seen the fully typed and unfinished manuscript of The Hobbit was one of Tolkien's former students, and now a family friend. Her name was Emily Griffiths. Oh, excuse me, not Emily, Elaine. Her name was Elaine Griffiths. You know what? Hey, Jamie, how are you, sir?
What's up, dude?
Good to see you.
How you doing?
Talking to the hobbits out here in the Shire right now.
Internet access?
Yeah, everybody's got internet access. The Shire got its Wi-Fi a long time ago. They got a lot of sheep there, too.
I feel like they don't share passwords, though.
No, that's funny. So, you guys listen closely to this. I'm gonna send a quick message to Justin and see if he might return. Justin, help! Exclamation point. I lost the chat! Exclamation point. He hates it when I dictate. I'm like, why would anybody type with their broken thumbs all that when you could just speak it in 3 seconds? Anyways, continuing. One of the few people to have seen the typed and unfinished manuscript of The Hobbit was one of Tolkien's former students, and now a family friend, Elaine Griffiths. When Elaine began to do some editorial work on the side for some publishers who happened to be in London, named George Allen and Unwin, she recommended, just out of her single opinion, she recommended that they approach Professor Tolkien and ask to see his, quote, wonderful children's story, unquote. Now, she had seen it. She knew it was wonderful. But the only person to whisper in the ear of the publishers was her. Tolkien happily showed them the manuscript, and they looked upon it enthusiastically, asking him to finish the story for consideration for publication the following year. Tolkien set right to work, and in October 1936, the publishers received the completed manuscript. The chairman of the publishing house, Stanley Unwin, as you know, famously gave the book to his 10-year-old son, Rainer Unwin, to read for like a couple of pence, and he responded with a positive one-page report. And it was that response that convinced Unwin to publish the book. Now, what's really interesting, if it had not been for Rainer Unwin, everybody says that The Hobbit would never have existed. I would take it a step further. If it hadn't been for the publisher agreeing to even look at it in the first darn place, I think Elaine Griffiths gets the special, extra credit for that. And Joanne Rowling, J.K. Rowling, she has also had intriguing issues with getting people to look at her books. Originally, when she was trying to get Harry Potter looked at, nobody in town would bother talking to her except for the gentleman named Christopher Little. That's right. He was a publisher. He was actually the first guy in 1995 to actually say, Joanne Rowling has created this wizarding world of Harry Potter and this bespectacled boy, the boy who lived, and that whole first draft, that first manuscript of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, she sent that manuscript out to 6 publishers. From the information I have here in front of me, 6 publishers, 8. The total number was 8 publishers, and the only people who agreed to actually look at it was Christopher Little. And you know what else I heard? The popular rumor, or now it's urban legend, is that Joanne Rowling didn't have any clue what it was like dealing with publishers or literary agents, so she went to the local library, picked off a book which had a list of literary agents, and she just was looking through a whole list of names, and she was like, oh, Christopher Little. And she picked that name because his full name, first and last, sounded like a character from a children's book. Really, it really did remind her of Christopher Robin from the children's stories of Winnie the Pooh. That's the core of it. So she blindly picked out of a list of literary agents, oh, Christopher Little. And then she got right in there, sent 7 or 8 copies out. Nobody wanted to touch it, but the second person who was going to touch that Harry Potter book and say, okay, maybe we can do business here. Maybe. Let's do some business and get a couple of copies out the door and see how it goes. But it was that person. So I want to put the equation in your mind that Elaine Griffiths is the same analog to Christopher Little as Elaine Griffiths was to Tolkien, Christopher Little is to Rowling. What say you, Justin? Come and join the chat. We'll talk about this. Okay, he's going to get the chat working. But I can see an LOL in the far distance. But you know how interesting that is to think about one small act. So small an act of faith. And the whole hand of destiny can be changed for millions and millions of people for generations. What if Elaine Griffiths had never seen it, had never been a family friend who was getting a side job editing at George Allen and Unwin? Can you imagine? It's the same thing. What if Christopher Little had looked at the early manuscript of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone? Mind you, it wasn't until a year later that the American publishers insisted that Rowling change the title of the book from Philosopher's Stone to Sorcerer's Stone, thinking that American audiences would not make the correlation to something magical. You all know this. And you know what else is even stranger? Because Joanne Rowling was trying to get into the children's book marketplace, even though she had originally said, I did not have an age group of an audience in mind when I wrote these stories. The publisher, which was Bloomsbury, okay, Christopher Little, agreed to represent her and take her right in there to Bloomsbury, and Bloomsbury offered her a £2,500 advance. That's all, £2,500, okay? And despite her obvious statement that she had no age group in mind, they said, well, we're going to target this to kids aged 9 to 11. And they also said, we're afraid that the little boys are not going to pick up the book because boys, well, you know, they like frogs and snails and puppy dog tails. That's what little boys are made of, you know? So they forced her to hide her feminine name. That's right. Joanne Rowling would be unacceptable for her to start her illustrious multi-billion-dollar career. So this is why we have these conversations now about equal pay, equal consideration, and gender issues in our American political and economic system, because it's been happening all around the world forever, at least in civilizations and cultures where a patriarchy instead of a matriarchy has taken over the entire continuum of culture. But I find it really intriguing. Elaine Griffiths did such a profound service for the world, and yet nowadays, amongst all of us Tolkien fans and all of us hardcore ringers, nobody remembers her name. Everyone talks about, you know, Rayner. Kind of like this manual cash register I have here next to me. And it's like, let me give you an example, okay? As an exercise, Joanne Rowling, who is now one of the wealthiest and most famous authors of the late 20th and early 21st century, go a little bit further, okay? And let me read this to you, okay? You guys might know this story, but you're gonna be like, what? What? Really? Okay? J.K. Rowling rejected manuscripts. You know this story? Because this came out, okay? Joanne Rowling has said that she received loads of rejections before the Harry Potter successes. And here's the whole story of how and why Harry Potter nearly didn't get published. Bloomsbury was just about the last chance for Rowling to get her book published. How about that? Okay? It's really interesting. Okay? La 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 la. Oh, there's a whole list of 12 publishing houses who rejected Harry Potter. What a surprise. Okay, and now a more recent story. Let me see if I can pull. Oh, there you are. Hey, you got it back. Is this chat back for everybody? Hey, guys. Nice to see you. I see the beautiful chat. Okay. Now, J.K. Rowling also wrote another book called The Cuckoo's Calling. Critically acclaimed, but had sold fewer than 500 copies before the Harry Potter creator was unmasked as its author. Okay? She had written it under a pseudonym. Listen to this. This is a story from the Telegraph in the United Kingdom. One leading editor bravely admitted that she had unwittingly turned down the crime novel, which was billed as the debut written story of a former soldier, because it failed to stand out from all the other manuscripts sent in by hopeful authors.
Is this the book that people want in the chat room?
Yeah, it's the book. Yeah, it's really quite good.
3-minute Tolkien?
3-minute Tolkien. Hey, Justin's joined us. Hello,
I'm
sir.
gonna go find it.
Yeah, go find it. He's going to put some more details up. Here you go. Listen to this. The publishing director at Orion, by the name of Kate Mills, said that she thought the work was perfectly decent, but quiet, and confessed that she could not find a unique selling point with which to market it. The editor added, quote, "When the book came in, I thought it was perfectly good. It was certainly well written, but it didn't stand out. Strange as it might seem, that's not quite enough. Editors have to fall in love with debuts. It's very hard to launch new authors, and crime is a very crowded market." The Cuckoo's Calling was published in April under the name, in April 2013. Oh, here you go, the real Zhao Long. Believe me, neither our Galbraith nor I walk around thinking we're fab. We just shoot for writing better than yesterday. I love that. Very good. Thank you, the real Zhao Long. Because that was the name, indeed, I was just getting to that. Yep, that was the name, the pseudonym Robert Galbraith, who according to his biography was a former plainclothes military policeman who left the army in 2003 to work in the private security industry. It achieved glowing reviews and laudatory quotations for the cover from well-known crime writers. However, suspicions were aroused by the author's assured writing style and skill at describing women's clothes and people's appearances, leading some readers to speculate that an established female novelist might be behind the book. Further detective work by the Sunday Times uncovered the fact that Mr. Galbraith and Miss J.K. Rowling shared the same publisher and editor, and on Sunday she confessed to the deception. The 47-year-old Harry Potter author said, quote, "I had hoped to keep this secret a little longer because being Robert Galbraith has been such a liberating experience. It's been wonderful to publish without hype, without expectation, and pure pleasure to get feedback under a different name." The publisher said that The Cuckoo's Calling had sold some 1,500 copies in hardback, but figures compiled by Nielsen Bookscan suggest that the number bought from British retailers was actually only 449 copies. This changed dramatically overnight with the revelation of the book's actual author. Orders on Amazon.co.uk shot way up the charts, propelling the novel from 5,076 to the top, the very top of the sales chart. It is not clear why Miss Rowling offered the book to other publishers before it was accepted by Sphere, an imprint of Little Brown, which last year published her first adult novel, The Casual Vacancy, which was also made into a miniseries special. Her spokesman said, quote, "I can confirm the book was treated like any new novel by a first-time writer. We're not going into any more detail than that or commenting further," unquote. How about that? So even, and she did it to prove a point. She admitted later on in recent tweets that she went through this deception because she really wanted, excuse me for making some noise, Joanne Rowling wanted to have the chance to do it on her own again and see if, the ghost of Christmas Past, which is, the allure of her own amazing career, would not get in the way of the book being considered on its own terms. Hey, buddy, good to see you. We're lost again. Yes. But
I found a source for that book.
you found a source for this book? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to look it up here online too because I thought it's all over.
XSN.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's on Shop XSN. That's better than finding it on Amazon, isn't it?
So we just listed on the homepage of XSN.
All right, guys, if you guys are really intrigued by getting your hands on 3-minute Tolkien, then take a look at the website SHOPXSN, your shopping network.
Cliff will sign this for you.
Sure. we'll get copies, and I'll sign it for you, even though I had nothing to do with it. But
You recommended it.
I heartily recommend this book. Take a look and see what you learn about Tolkien in 3 minutes.
You know,
Did you see this,
I
Mr.?
really wanted to come on the show and ask you about.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about the calendars. But one last thought: can you guys imagine how difficult it would be for Professor Tolkien to get The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings published today in 2016?
Easy.
In today's day and age?
Oh yeah, all the
Even-
merchandising and merchandising
Oh, yeah,
and
but-
licensing
but
opportunities.
Even wait a minute, but you guys, hey, everyone says hey, Justin, but even Joanne Rowling got rejected, you know, and the publishers are explaining why that she was rejected even after her multi-billion-dollar worldwide success.
J.R.R. Tolkien is an old white man, so he won't get rejected. He teaches at Oxford. He won't get rejected.
I don't know about that.
He has a full fantasy world that he owns himself. Won't get
Well,
rejected.
I'm gonna take,
Tolkien will never get rejected. He never got rejected. He'll never get rejected.
you know,
And he would not get rejected today.
I don't know. It's intriguing to think. There's a lot of fantasy authors who are
There's no
struggling.
intriguing.
I don't know. But I don't want to think that Professor Tolkien would be rejected by publishers. But since Joanne Rowling is rejected by publishers because they don't know who she is, I'm just saying. You see what I'm saying? Anyways, Elaine Griffiths, my hat and Justin's hat are off to you. Because if it wasn't for you, Elaine Griffiths, then Rainer Unwin and George Allen and Unwin would have never seen The Hobbit, and it would never have gotten published. So you were the missing link. And for you, also, Christopher Little, you were the missing link. And you helped all of the world learn who Joanne Rowling was. And we embrace her work, and we love her work. So it's all about you guys. I mean, one person says yes, Justin. One person says, yes, that's an intriguing project. Let's do it. And then the whole world opens up, and the world is your oyster. Isn't that intriguing? Eravandi says, live in the chat room, I'm such a stickler for canon accurateness, I can't get myself to write fan fiction. I don't mind reading it, though, depending on the content.
No way. No way to fan fiction. No way.
You know, Justin says automatically, no way to fan fiction. But then again, if you do that, Justin, there's no room for that wonderful fan movie, The Hunt for Gollum, or some of the other fan movies and fan fictions that actually rise above. You know what they say? The cream rises to the top. So, in the world of fan fiction, there's always going to be a lot of junk, and at the top, at the very top, the cream of the crop. That's what they get that phrase from. The cream of the crop. It will be evident in the crowd as being fan fiction that is better than all the other fan fiction. Yeah, so there you go. Tolkien girl. Everyone's here in the chat room having a really lively chat. I mean, it's been very active. You'll have to forgive me, guys, but my ability to see you on the monitor was kind of glitched for a few minutes, and I couldn't even see anything, but now I can see the chat, and it's back. Shall we go through some of these extraordinary Tolkien calendars?
Well, set the stage.
Let's set the stage. I'll talk to some of you guys about this. Ooh, wow, this one hasn't even been opened up yet. Wow. I had many of these calendars when I was a boy, and here they are. Yep. In fact, where did you get these? Really? Where did you get these? I want to know where you got these calendars, boy. 86, 87. Wow. We've got a couple of decades of calendars here. Let's go back in time. We're going to go back in time and look at some really beautiful artwork. Switching gears from talking about the publishing history, we'll talk about the calendars now.
This is 1978.
Isn't that something?
A lot of people on our Facebook had this one.
Yep. Me too.
Hannah Tuck has a question. You can always ask questions. So they did all of the works in it? The Hildebrandt?
The Hildebrandt brothers did every single piece. Many of these pieces reproduced in that beautiful, large edition, soft cover book about Tolkien and the Hildebrandt brothers. See that? There you go. Yeah, this is a little glimpse into the past. 1978.
That is called the gift of Galadriel.
Yeah, that's where she gives him the Elisar, the Elfstone. Has Justin read The Hobbit yet? Well, Pippin,
What's today's date?
I don't think so. One of my most favorite phrases,
Well,
I don't think so. Haha. No, I don't think Justin has read it yet.
So the question is, did the Hildebrandt brothers come up with this, or was this how Tolkien described it and Peter Jackson went for it? How does this Argonath relate to Peter Jackson?
Well, all the artists usually do a little bit of a change to the way they do the Argonath.
Yeah.
I mean, you see these guys don't have any weapons. And in the original novel, Professor Tolkien describes that the Argonath are sculpted out of the living rock and that they bear weapons. You know, I think one of them has an axe, one of them has a sword. I'll have to look that up. So this is a good idea, but it's not quite accurate. But it certainly does give you the feeling of largesse. It gives you a feeling of scope and scale. And I've always enjoyed the Hildebrandt brothers because there was something kind of, well, classic European Disney.
How many people?
There's a lot of feeling of like forests in Snow White and the Seven
look
Dwarfs.
at that one.
This is like 1937. You know, when artists working for the Disney Animation Studio were trying to recreate these Bavarian woods and these beautiful golden lit trees, and that's where Snow White was making friends with dwarves.
How many?
So there's a certain quality, an old world
the pages
quality.
out of these and hung them on the wall as posters.
Lots. I know lots and lots of people. In fact, you can walk into many bookstores, fantasy bookstores or restaurants or people who are Tolkien fans, and you'll find an image like this that has been chopped right out of the calendar and put inside a custom frame over a table or a counter. Happens all the time.
So why were the Hildebrandts?
But this is epic.
Given-
This is epic. This is
that's
one of
the Grey Haven.
Yeah, this is. You know what? A lot of calendars.
How close? That's pretty close. I kind of wish that the Grey Havens were at night.
Yeah.
Now, what is that book accurate? That a night departure at the Grey Haven?
You know what? I'm wanting to think no, that it was not nighttime.
Okay.
I'm wanting to think no, but I'd have to go look it up real quick. You know what else is a hallmark of Tolkien calendars? They always had this very familiar picture of the professor. It's always usually the same picture of the professor that was published by Ballantine Books. And because Ballantine was also publishing all these calendars had
all
the
these
same
calendars
yeah,
have the same picture.
the same picture of the professor on the back
All of them.
because Ballantine was the American paperback publisher that had the authorized real edition, not Ace Books. That was the pirated edition. That was the unauthorized one. But Ballantine was the reissued, fully legal, fully authorized, and that's what they did. You know, another hallmark of these calendars was that they had a centerfold.
Really?
Not a naughty one, but a really artful one. Really artful one. See? How's that for a centerfold?
Focoena says sunset.
Sunset, yep. Focoena, you might be right.
You
Sunset.
should do a PowerPoint presentation on the history of Tolkien calendars and the artists.
Yeah. Look at this. The Grey Havens under full moonlight. Yeah. And they also do some interesting things with lighting. Okay?
It's funny how
There's something interesting in their
a lot
lighting.
of, a lot
I
of
really love
people
it.
actually had these. Like every year there was one calendar, Tolkien calendar, that really
Yep, there was always one.
was the most popular one. That year, the next year, 1979, was Ralph Bakshi, because the movie had just come out the year before, a few months before actually. I think didn't this movie come out in third quarter, like September-ish?
Yes,
So
I believe so.
This would be.
But look at this. This version of Saruman the White from the Hildebrandt brothers always struck me as a little weird because he's got this weird pointy skull cap and this weird super like Maleficent collar, and he's licking his lips while he's looking at the Palantir and he's losing his mind. I always thought that was a very weird.
The thing I like about the Bakshi calendars is that they have drawings at the bottom of of all of that, of every month. So you have like every character has his own month, and not only that, but like there's the Balrog. There's Gandalf battling the Balrog.
Yeah.
So you get. I feel like as a kid, I felt I'm getting double my money. I'm getting two drawings. I'm getting the main drawing, and I'm getting the little wizard down at the bottom. Versus that one, which is just lettering. I do like the lettering in this, and I think I don't. Do you think these were lettered, or do you think these computers weren't really taking over in 1978-79? So I think a lot of this was typeset.
Yeah, this is typeset. Absolutely, this is like
But
old
not-
school typesetting.
Not font. And then
No, look at this. Here's
1980.
Shelob. Samwise and Shelob. Really dramatic use of light and colors in their paintings.
And then in 1980, we have the illustrated edition, the great illustrative edition.
Before you get to that, did you know that there was another special edition of this calendar that you don't have here? Although I really like Darrell K. Sweet, and his artwork is along the same vein as the
Look
Hildebrandt
at
brothers.
that Gollum.
Yep. Yep.
Look at that Gollum. He looks like something out of Underworld,
He does, doesn't he?
like a lichen.
Oh, he almost looks like some crazy zombie. There are images in the Ralph Bakshi
Yes.
1979 poster
That's beautiful.
that never made it into the film.
Really?
This was never in the film, and it is great. This is great.
That looks really cool.
Because of the composition. Especially, you know what? And there ended up being a time when the centerfold images were no longer appearing in the Tolkien calendars, and then they weren't as interesting or as collectible to me.
Thank God that Peter Jackson made his own creative decisions. I mean,
And gave Aragorn a beard. He looks like
it
Prince
looks-
Valiant in
it-
that picture.
Valiant, and she looks like
He
your
looks like Prince
typical, Aurora in the forest. Like, imagine if Peter Jackson's live-action movie looked like a Disney film. And it's not too far-fetched to say that. You're like, oh, they would never make a movie like that. Well, look at that, and then look at the cover, right, of this one. That is total Disney's dwarves, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Tolkien art that is based in that kind of fantasy, the Disney-esque fantasy.
Which he rejected and he really disliked.
And Peter, you made a decision,
Here we are
but he
in
could
Moria.
have easily have gone down the path that Disney's going down right now, where they're creating movies of the Jungle Book, and they're creating movies of Cinderella and all that stuff. I mean,
Guess what?
look
Hey,
at
it's
this.
not stopping there. Walt Disney has made announcements that they're going back to redo The Black Cauldron and The Chronicles of Prydain. So they're going back to do live-action versions of all of their previous animated films.
Sarah loves that
How
blue
about that?
dress. This is a very Norman Rockwell-esque work.
Yeah, it is. Who's that artist? That is so
Cronister.
Norman Rockwell.
Cronister.
Robert Cronister. Oh my gosh, that is so. Now look at this.
Peter Karras. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very religious.
That is so religious.
Very religious.
This is another one of my
That-
favorite images.
That looks more to Peter Jackson-esque.
Yeah, lots of action here.
Michael
Lots of
Herring.
action. Look at that. Excellent use of light and color. This is excellent. I love this. I've always loved this image. Can you guys check that out? So, there was one special edition of the Tolkien calendar. I think it was the
The
1987.
Brothers Gentile.
Yeah, I always hated this. This is the weirdest thing.
That is so weird.
Look at how Aragorn looks like the Virgin
Yeah.
Mary.
Oh my
Aragorn
God.
looks like a female.
I know what he's trying to do, but I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Oh, it's very religious.
Legolas, Gimli.
This is like a
What
religious.
business do a man, an elf, and a dwarf?
But look, this is supposed to look like, who's the saint who gets shot full of arrows?
Cupid?
No, a saint in Roman Catholic pantheon.
I don't know.
He's in the REM video for Losing My Religion. Where is it Sebastian or someone? Where there's a saint who got shot full of arrows. Okay, I've got to go look it up now. But let's show the people at home how weird this religious iconography is. Look at this. Aragorn, with no facial hair, no beard at all. Evidently, Aragorn took a portable shaver with him on his journey. I know, huh? That's my favorite. That is my very favorite. Oh, there's a lot of damage to that calendar. But look at that. Look at how weird and kind of like religious, like, this looks like a what you'd call a layout for stained glass. A stained glass window. I always hated that picture. Look at Gimli's short little legs.
It's interesting though. Like we just showed the 1978, 79.
Oh, but this is one of the most famous images ever. And it's from who? Douglas Beekman.
I want the movie to look like that.
Yeah, well, I thought the movie would look like that.
I want the movie to look like that.
I thought that I thought the Witch King would be on horseback.
Yeah.
Not on a winged fell beast. You guys, check this out. During the siege of Gondor and the Battle of the Pelennor, there's the Witch King of Angmar facing down Gandalf the White, who inexplicably has a bright pink, a carnation pink cape. But isn't that interesting? Yeah. This is really...
The interesting thing is that you start to see, you see the trends in the Tolkien-inspired artwork, very Disney-esque, in 1978 with Brothers Hildebrand. 1979, you see Bakshi style, but skip a decade. By the time we get to 1991, John Howe is in the mix. Mm-hmm. The 1991,
and then John Howe is there, yeah.
And it's funny, I love the name of it. It's just called The 1991 J.R.R. Tolkien. Not it's The.
It's The.
The 1991.
No, it was back in 1979. It was The.
They always had
the Tolkien calendar. There's only one.
There was look, the 1991 Tolkien calendar by John Howe. He's sole credited.
Yeah.
Sole credited.
Okay, if you don't think that this inspired Peter Jackson and his team, then you don't know how art inspires other artists.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. If you don't think this inspired
now again, who
Daniel Falconer and the team at Weta, take a look at this extraordinary image.
Is that flying monkeys in the background?
No, they're not flying monkeys. They're flying eagles.
No, flying monkeys in the battle of the Witch King.
No.
Go back to the Witch King.
Those are Nazgul. Those are Nazgul riding on what were pterodactyls.
Look at February.
They look like real pterodactyls.
1991. This is the 1991 The Tolkien calendar. Tell me that doesn't look familiar. That is John Howe. He's the sole credited artist in 1991. The calendar. There's only one Tolkien calendar every year.
Yes, that's right.
This is the one.
Yeah.
That went straight into the movie. Did this not go straight into the movie?
It did. It did. It totally went right into the movie. Yeah. Look at the creature design for the fell beast.
That's exactly what's in the movie.
And this is just
Sam and
Michael Whelan.
Shelob. That is exactly what happened in the movie. I mean, it's just so perfect. It's so perfect. John Howe. I don't think everyone knows that John Howe and Alan Lee worked on Lord of the Rings and it influenced a lot of the shots, but I don't think they realize just how much is verbatim.
This is
Look
really
at this.
Yeah, that's there's a reason why John Howe got hired to work on that job.
Look at right here. That's a Horsehead water form. The river takes the Nazgul.
Yeah.
And this is a John Howe original. You can totally see the horse heads in the river, and then the white horse and the falling. This is John Howe. Just basically.
Does that calendar feature nothing but John's work? Okay, nothing but John's work.
Nothing but John's work.
Yeah. Ooh.
Turambar and Glaurung.
That's Turin. That is Turin, Turambar, and Glaurung. This, when more materials. Now this is an old spelling. from the old name that was available from the only existing published works. But when Unfinished Tales came out, and there was more manuscripts available from Christopher Tolkien, then the actual correct spelling of the dragon's name, which is Glaurung, that became evident, and what you're looking at is the old spelling. Because at the time, Tolkien fans didn't have a lot to go on. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That's-
Turin Turambar and Glaurung. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's wicked cool. Eowyn and the Nazgul.
Straight into the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked.
From John Howe's hand to your DVD set.
I know, huh?
That's amazing.
I'm going to show everybody this one thing from Daryl K. Sweet, the 1982 calendar, because this was my screensaver on my computer for many years. Did you know that?
Glorfindel and the Balrog.
Yeah, there's more than one Balrog. Look at this coolness. Daryl K. Sweet from 1982, guys. The Entmoot. Remember this? I know, it's super cool, huh? Super, super, super cool. Oh yeah, Emily, we'll have Skype on for sure. Well, definitely. We'll have Skype on eventually. Let me turn that on. Hey, Night Eruvandi, thank you for joining us. So good of you to join us. My favorite image from Daryl K. Sweet, just about ever. The Entmoot. It's just the way... Because his Ents, they didn't look like trees at all.
No, they don't.
They look like crazy Cro-Magnon.
And that's what people were afraid of that it would look like in the movie.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what people were afraid it would look like? The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson was terrified of saying, I don't want my movie to look like these trees throwing apples at Dorothy.
Here's the interesting thing. Look at this. We've got 1991. We've got 1991 by John Howe. Mm-hmm. 1992 by Ted Naismith.
He is a very talented
and 1993
author, Ted
by
Naismith.
Alan Lee.
All right.
The Tolkien by Alan Lee. So you can see this in the early 90s. Basically, these three artists rewrote the visual identity of Middle Earth.
Yes.
In 1991, 92, 93, you have Howe, Naismith, and Lee.
Yeah.
And that is just 10 years removed from these. That's just 10 years removed from these Brothers Hildebrandt, and very cartoony things. In 10 years, we went Tolkien visual imagery went
Isn't that amazing?
From this and very Disney-esque and Bakshi. And then we showed you some of the Disney-esque, and then by 10 years later, it was John Howe and Alan Lee.
Can you hold down the fort, sir? Talk to the nice folks at home. I have an emergency, and I'll be right back in one quick second. But he's right. The visual language must have had such an impact that trickled down to the filmmakers. You're getting onto something, Mr. Justin.
So this
Quite
is
right.
This is only 10 years difference between the Disney, well-produced Disney-esque.
Very
Tolkien
Disney-esque.
artwork
I'll be right
and
back in a second.
John Howe and Alan Lee. So it's been 15 years since Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings came out. So in 10 years' time, the art style of Middle Earth was totally transformed into this much more dramatic and much more ethereal look versus the cartoon. So that was less time than it's been since the Lord of the Rings came out. Basically, there was enough time. The difference is, but if you look at when the Hobbit came out, when did the Hobbit come out? It came out about 10 years after Lord of the Rings. So Peter Jackson drew on the 1990s artists of Howe, Lee, Naismith. I mean, there's only one Tolkien calendar every year, and they chose these artists. 91, 92, 93. And then that's what Peter Jackson made his movies on. When Peter went and made The Hobbit, he made a conscious decision to base it on the visual style of the 70s. So there's something that was a conscious decision. Now people constantly say that The Hobbit, where did Peter Jackson go wrong? Why doesn't The Hobbit feel like Lord of the Rings? We've gone through that many times. But I think one of the answers is right here. In 10 years, Peter Jackson went the reverse direction. So, Tolkien, the official Tolkien calendar, 1978, very cartoony. 1991, John Howe, very moody. Peter Jackson makes these movies first. 10 years later, boom, Peter Jackson brings it full circle, and we have a cartoony. I mean, this guy looks like, look at that dwarf right there. Doesn't that look like Bumper? I mean, that's straight out of the Weta Workshop, very red hair. So, what do you guys think of what do you think of this? That's what was really interesting to me, is that people say that our attention spans are shorter, but I think our memory is longer. Our collective pop culture consciousness is longer. Everybody remembers Lord of the Rings 15 years old, 10 years when The Hobbit came out, like it was yesterday, and they wanted a retread of what we saw in Lord of the Rings. By that time, Peter Jackson had already moved on, and he was bringing it full circle back to the Brothers Hildebrand. And I wonder, have you guys watched all the bonus features on the Hobbit Blu-rays? I wonder if Peter had, before the movie came out, if Peter had actually, stated that he wanted to base the Hobbit movies more on the Brothers Hildebrand. I mean, and this type of artwork. Very colorful, very, I think there's something there, and I think if before the movie had come out, they had talked about that they were taking a different visual style that was still in the Tolkien mythos. I mean, here we go. Roger Garland, 1984. That looks like a goblin. I mean, a goblin not from Lord of the Rings, but it looks like a goblin from The Hobbit. Very cartoony. It might have been an effort to have a different feel for The Hobbit. But that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone, Peter said, he wanted to have a different feeling for The Hobbit, but he didn't attribute that feeling to anything. He didn't attribute that feeling to anything. And I think that's the ultimate failure. Is that they just didn't position it right. I mean, these colors you expect to see in the Hobbit movies, not in Lord of the Rings.
Are you going to do an unboxing and open up one you haven't opened?
Foco says you expected the Hobbit movies to have a different look. But here's the thing. I remember when the Lord of the Rings was coming out.
If Del Toro had done it, it would have had a different look. But
no. Look, I think Peter Jackson and the filmmakers and Del Toro possibly were drawing on a different source. I think the issue that we ran into is that when Lord of the Rings was coming out, 15 years ago, they made a big deal about Alan Lee, John Howe. They made a big deal about these guys. being working on the film, and it's on the DVD bonus features of Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
How Peter went to the ends of the earth to track down John and Alan,
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
and because he wanted them on the production, and he got them. Why didn't Peter do the same amount of effort getting the brothers Hildebrand involved? And why didn't he reach out to Bakshi
To Bakshi's artists.
and Roger Garland?
Oh, Roger Garland's work is exceptionally different and considered by many a bit less realistic and a little bit more
But that's-
surreal.
That's what Peter was going for.
No, he wasn't. Peter Jackson was going for realism, called really
No,
specifically
not on The Hobbit.
fantastical realism.
Not in The Hobbit.
But The Hobbit was meant to look exactly like The Lord of the Rings.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
It absolutely was not. How can you say that with a straight face?
Listen, reading a bit from 3-Minute Tolkien, okay, which you can find and you can purchase on shopxsn.com. Peter Jackson controversially announced that he would shoot his movies in 48 frames per second rather than the usual 24. Purists felt this represented a move away from the grainy feel of true cinema. Jackson went to great pains to assure moviegoers that his filming would create a new kind of realism for lovers of fantasy, and it would prove to be the future of technological movie making. The audience's first reaction to samples was less than euphoric, but Peter Jackson stood by his innovation. One thing is for certain: the technology used on The Hobbit is essential to creating a trilogy to rival the wonder of The Lord of the Rings. But did it? But did it?
Here, but I'm saying, Foco in the chat room is saying John Howe and Alan Lee are credited on The Hobbit. Yeah, and I think that's inappropriate. Mm-hmm. I think Peter should have lessened their involvement, John and Alan,
Really?
and gone to these very fantastical, colorful sources of the Brothers Hildebrand and a few other artists, that we've seen in these calendars.
Okay, here's the weird stuff by Roger Garland. God, I really disliked his art. I remember having this calendar on my wall and thinking, where's that nice art that I like so much? But this was intriguing. The Two Trees of Valinor from the 1984 calendar by Mr. Garland. Really intriguing. But how could he have all the same exact actors and the same music score and the same art department and then tell all of his artists, make these 3 films look dramatically different from the airtight fantasy world we did in the first trilogy?
Well, they did
Where's
that.
the sense? In
The earlier calendar artwork looks like those cartoonish Bumblebird and those cartoonish colorful beards.
a little bit more Rankin and Bass, yes. Which was designed and animated by Topcraft, a bunch of animators that would eventually go work at Studio Ghibli for Miyazaki.
All right, so
all Topcraft.
so
in case you didn't know.
in the final segment of the show, we're gonna put these on XSN. Cliff, can you tell me what the value is, what we should sell these for?
These? Oh, wow.
Let's go one by one.
Really? One by one?
One by one. I got my clipboard. I got my piece of paper.
I think that there's a sentence in here that is
I got my Sharpie.
an interesting counterpoint to what you suggest. That Peter Jackson's 6 films are really, really deliberately putting a living and growing, interweaving mythology with artistic elements that were all supposed to be airtight all together. I really do think that's why
you can do that, but if you had told me, if you had told us, if Peter Jackson had told us, I'm going to base the first Hobbit movie on my cherished memories of the Brothers Hildebrand,
Actually, I would have thought that was cool.
Our expectations
yeah.
would have been set.
Yeah, and different. Yeah.
Much different. We would have
Yes.
gone into that movie
You're right.
looking for
Okay.
something a little more whimsy, which is what
Okay,
the
yep.
first 2 Hobbit movies were
Yep.
definitely more whimsy.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Down to the ending of Desolation of Smog, where you can, in your head, you can hear the dun dun dun, cut to black.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So
I get it.
All right, so let's go through this. The 1984 J.R.R. Tolkien calendar by Garland. You say it's not a fan favorite. It's very
It's not a fan favorite.
surrealist.
However, Mr. Roger Garland was a favorite of the original publisher. Allen and Unwin loved him, and that's why they picked him And you'll see his artwork in the British versions of the books, in some British editions.
So what value would you put on this? We're doing Antiques Roadshow.
This is just so surreal. I mean, look at this.
This is like the Antiques Roadshow edition.
It is. This is okay. Antiques Roadshow, some of this stuff is just really like an LSD trip. Look at the conch shells and the shells on top of Ulmo, Lord of the Waters. This is Roger Garland's most surreal, interesting fantasy work. Look at that. There's our little guy down here, meeting the great Valar.
All right, so how much is this one worth?
This 1984 calendar? I wonder. Gosh, that's freaky, isn't it? It's really freaky. Look at this, guys. Look at how freaky Barad-dûr is. Look at that. And this is a cloud, and it's a shape of cloud. And the way that Mr. Garland has painted it, you're inside a cave looking out, and the shape of the cave is giving you this shape of the eye, along with the clouds. Yeah, I know, huh? It's really crazy. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this.
What would you peg that at?
To sell this? I don't know. Maybe $17 or $18, maybe?
$18.
Yeah.
1984.
The real way to do this is to go and look on eBay and look at some finished auctions to see where they are.
Our chat room can do. So 1984, the 1984 Tolkien calendar by Roger Garland. We're saying we're gonna sell for 18. All right, moving on.
Okay.
1978. 1978. J.R.R. Tolkien calendar. There's only one calendar every year.
This is beautiful. Now this is a
by
classic.
the brothers Hildebrandt. We've shown you a lot of pieces from it.
Yeah.
Let's put a value on this one.
One of the reasons
we're already past that.
One of the reasons why I lowered the value on this 1984 calendar is because it doesn't have a famous, really popular centerfold with a really beautiful thing that you can hang up. This has one of the most extraordinary centerfolds in all of Tolkien calendar history.
Double page, double wide.
Yeah, and because this is such an early calendar, I'd have to put this in the $45 or $40 range.
45, I'll take it. 45 for the 1978 Brothers Hildebrandt. All right, so we're on to 1979, based on Ralph Bakshi's animated feature Lord of the Rings, which came out
in 78.
In September, I believe.
That's right.
Of 78.
Yep.
So
and
if
released
you know,
by United Artists.
If you think of how much time is needed to print and ship all these posters for a December release.
Yeah.
Because calendars come out in December.
Yeah.
So this was definitely in the plan the whole time.
It was in the plans. What's interesting about this calendar is that it gives us some visual elements that you also saw reproduced on the movie soundtrack.
Yep.
On when they did picture disc vinyl. Okay. And this is one of my favorites. The Black Riders leaving Bree. It's hard to see, but there they are. See the red, the horses and the eyes of the Black Riders are red against black. But
the most valuable thing in this piece is probably the unreleased.
There's 3 images that were unreleased and never used in Bakshi's film. Okay,
yes.
We're going to start with the centerfold. Okay, here's the center. I'm going to put this here. See this?
Wide.
This is a double wide centerfold, and if I pull the camera back far enough, you'll see that the Fellowship are there in Moria. Okay, now just to get a sense of scale, he's going to move the camera up in a straight pan. Oh, you were asking, is that a flying monkey in the background? Now I see what she was asking about. There is some weird dwarven sculpture in the background. Don't know what it is, but this is a really impressive big centerfold. And another item that was beautifully, beautifully illustrated, but never to appear.
Hundreds of pounds. You calling this? Oh, how much would Tolkien's autograph be worth? Not hundreds of pounds. You can pick up an autograph fairly affordably.
Really? Now, the November picture of the Battle of Helm's Deep is
cool.
So violent and has such interesting drama in it.
And
Take a look at this.
Sliding elven anything.
No sliding elven shields and no rotoscoping. This is just
the one with the Lord
painting.
of the Sea one went for $50.
That one with the Lord of the Sea went for $50 on eBay. Okay, well maybe I'm underselling it for $18.
Oh, yeah.
The Roger Garland.
Woo!
She's talking about the Roger Garland.
Okay.
Okay, but this is my favorite piece. It is one of my favorite pieces that was ever painted.
Ooh, very surreal.
It is, well, not surreal, but
Impressionist.
Yes. This is an impressionist portrait that must have been done by some of the animation team because they did not want to pull another clip or a still from the film itself. The artist's name is not credited. We do not know the name of the painter, but look at this.
It's in the Bakshi wheelhouse.
It is in the Bakshi wheelhouse. It was one of the animators working for Ralph and United Artists.
I think the increased value is not only this exclusive artwork.
This is so
but-
beautiful. I love this. Gandalf and Frodo. I've always loved it.
But as I pointed out earlier,
Oh, yeah, there's
every month has cartoon characters
Yeah.
in the month.
The animated
So I
design of every character, and
my-
even Barlaam Butterbur shows up in June. There he is. There's Barlaam,
So
our
my
innkeeper.
my simpleton mind thinks I'm getting double the art for half the price. So what would you price this 1979?
Where, Justin?
calendar?
Where? There's Saruman. Saruman gets February.
All right, so
Okay.
what's the price? What's the value of this 1979 J.R.R. Tolkien Bakshi calendar? And it's in fairly good condition. The corners are not torn. There's nothing written in any of these. These are not
Only a couple.
used.
There's a small handwritten note on a couple of them.
But not the yeah.
Not these. Not this one. These are.
So-
Oh, and they also have the dates. There are dates on the month that show when certain things happen, like on
Wedding of Elisar and Arwen.
on June 23rd. Yeah.
Bilbo returns to Bag End.
Yep, that's right.
Look at this.
Well, all Tolkien calendars usually have that. Usually, all Tolkien calendars have that. Most all the time.
Jeez. All
That's-
right.
Yeah,
so,
did you know that?
So put a price on this.
On this one, I would.
Spirited Books is $60.
Yeah, I would have say 60 or 65.
65. I'll take it.
That's what I said. Now, moving on to the 1980 Tolkien calendar.
Great Illustrators Edition. This is one of the first calendars where it's not
A
a
single-
artist.
It's a bunch of different artists.
It's a bunch of different
Yeah,
artists.
a
it's
bunch
one
of
of the
different
only
artists.
ones actually that has
Yep.
multiple artists.
And it has this
Probably one of my
Siege of Gondor
favorite paintings.
by Douglas Beekman. Yeah, this is very popular. Douglas Beekman's Siege of Gondor, where the Nazgul, Lord of the Nazgul, the Witch King, and Gandalf have their face-off. Okay, Pippin of Minnesota is typing in some values. Ooh, you found a Tolkien signature on eBay for $725? Not bad. Well, there's also some weird stuff in here.
What year is this again?
This is the
1980.
1980, yeah,
All right,
1980.
so we've got the 1980. What value would you put on the 1980? Oh, they've got Chris's wedding on the 14th, but that's
Chris's
not
wedding?
much.
There's not much written in here.
There's not much written in this one.
Just a couple, only 2 marks. Wait,
Spirited
Eric's,
Book says she'll
Eric's
pay
birthday?
60 for it. What is that? Oh, for the signature, I think.
For the signature. Well, for this one, there's some really, really epic stuff, especially this. This is just my favorite.
So good.
So, for this 1980 Tolkien calendar, I would say, let's put this also down in the, let's put it in for 35. Why not?
35.
Yes.
With the writing.
Yeah, because there's writing on it, yeah.
If there was no writing in it.
Then if there was nothing written on it and it was, in better condition, then I would say more than 35.
Okay.
But now here's a trip down memory lane.
What year is this?
This is the Darrell K. Sweet calendar from 1982.
Single artist. The single artist. Lord of the Rings.
Single artist Darrell K. Sweet on the 1980 calendar.
The real Zhao Long says a 1980 calendar would be for $80.
Well then 35 is quite a deal.
You're undervaluing all of these. So
No,
far,
I'm
that's
not.
that's two calendars that people in the chat room have said you've undervalued.
Have I?
We're giving it away. Cliff just wants to give these away.
I don't want to give them away. I want to give our friends a deal.
The best deal in town.
Oh, look at how amazing this
Oh,
is.
that's so
But
beautiful.
it is just like, it's just like living in a crystal ball of Middle Earth, which is all like beautiful and shiny and happy. Darrell K. Sweet had a real sweetness. And yes, perhaps I am undervaluing them a little.
Wait, what would you rate these at mint or what? Where on the
I don't
scale?
know. I don't know. I never answer these questions unless I look on eBay, click my search results
It's
to
85 in mint.
completed. If I look for completed auctions, then I'll look and see how they are when they're finished auctions. But I mean, I can't guess. I haven't looked at the secondary marketplace on Tolkien calendars in a while.
This is huge.
I know.
Imagine if we set up, in partnership with the One Ring, what if we set up a marketplace where people could buy and sell
Could buy and sell their own memorabilia. Ooh, that's an idea.
like these old calendars.
That's a clever idea.
So this one is in poor condition. Looks like it got wet.
No, it didn't get wet.
It just got crumpled.
Got crumpled. But there's some great images. Because Daryl K. Sweet.
Glaurung.
Yeah.
The slaying of
And it was
Glaurung.
spelled correctly this time. The Slaying of Glaurung by Turin Turambar. Yeah,
He looks like Thor.
Isn't that awesome?
But again, look, that is a very Marvel, Disney type treatment.
Yeah.
That's not what
Yeah.
Peter Jackson went for in his movies. His movies could have easily gone the Marvel route.
Yeah. Well, look, there's the reforging of Anduril, and oh, look at this. Thorin Oakenshield. Now, this is a different version of Thranduil. This is not Lee Pace, where Thranduil actually looks like he's 33 years old.
Yeah.
This is where Thranduil looks like he's Methuselah. He looks like he's being played by Sir Anthony Hopkins in a big old beard. Okay, Spirited Book says you'll only get 20 for that because it's so damaged.
So what?
There's no writing in it, but
so
it is damaged.
Are we good with 20?
For this one, that's really, really damaged, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
the work is really good.
Yeah.
Should we discount it more?
Maybe make it. Maybe you should make this Roger Garland one a little bit more.
No, you already called it.
Already called it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, Justin's big idea: fandom exchange of merch. For this guy, for this busted up calendar, I don't know. What do you think? How about?
Beautiful artwork.
Yeah,
I mean,
really beautiful artwork.
I mean, you
And-
take
and-
those out, you frame them, you press them against
and
glass,
they'll be flat.
and they'll be really, really. These are frameable.
They are. They are. And all of the orcs in Helm's Deep look like warthogs. Daryl Sweet decided to make all of his orcs look like warthogs. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. They look like warthogs.
Love Sarah.
It's true. Spirited Book says, when are you going to sell these?
They're online right now.
They're
at
on
Shop XSN.
They're on ShopXSN.
.com.
Okay, so let's say this one that's busted up would be 17. What the hell?
17.
We'll give you a deal, guys.
Okay.
Okay, now, ooh. There you go.
The 1986.
Michael Haig.
Who's Michael Haig?
Michael Haig.
Give us some background on Michael Haig. We haven't talked about
He's
him.
an American artist who gives some, in 1986, these were all brand new. Michael Haig specializes in watercolors, and everything is much softer. His use of color is always softer, and his elements remind me of what you'd think you'd see in these old Pauline Baines 1940s looking things. Look at this. Leaving the Misty Mountains on the back of the bald eagles. All right, switching back to the other GoPro. There it is. Ooh, look at that.
But you can see the detail in the rock and the watercolor of
Okay. Here's a good example.
Ooh, look at that.
Bilbo and Gollum in the riddle game. This
Watercolor
is cool.
has this layering effect that makes you look very muscular.
Yeah.
And brings out the highlights.
There's some really cool pieces here. You might not believe this, but this was one calendar that I missed. I missed this calendar.
Is that Beorn?
Yeah, that's Beorn. There's Beorn, and Gandalf has this really funny, pointy blue hat. And Beorn has windmills, and look, the dimensions are appropriate because Bilbo is described as being able to walk right underneath Beorn's tunic without brushing his cap as he walks underneath Beorn. That's how tall Beorn was supposed to be. But there is, oh, look at this guy, Smaug. Yeah, there's a turn of the century, like 1920s, or I should say early 1920s soft watercolor quality to these. And this is in really beautiful, beautiful condition. So this
Nothing written on any of the squares.
nothing on any of the no writing at
Funeral
all.
of King Theoden, Saruman,
The death of
birthday
Smaug.
of Bilbo Baggins, Black Riders enter the Shire. Boromir reaches
Here you go.
Rivendell.
Offering the Arkenstone to the Elven King and Bard. There he is. There's Bilbo right here, whose orange little face can hardly be seen. This is really cool.
That's from the illustrated version of The Hobbit. I have that.
That's right. Yeah. So this was from the 1986 book. Oh, this is lovely. The elves of the Valley of Rivendell singing in the trees.
It's very Avatar-like. James Cameron's Avatar.
Okay, so for this calendar, this beautiful 1986 calendar, which is in great, great condition. Hey there, Satine Phoenix.
Hello,
How you
miss.
doing?
Hi guys.
We're appraising old Tolkien
Looking at some
calendars.
watercolors.
Oh my
Yeah, we're looking at old
Antique-
Tolkien calendars.
Antiques Roadshow.
I would say that 86 calendar could probably go for 45, perhaps.
$45. He's undervalued a few of these.
I know this is definitely worth more.
All right, so we've got
Ooh,
the 1987
wow,
Tolkien
okay.
calendar with Alan Lee, Roger
Look,
Garland,
why don't you
Scott
ask
Naismith.
someone else to value them if I keep,
You're the
if
expert.
I
No,
keep
yeah.
undervaluing
No,
them.
you're the expert.
No, I'm not the
This one
expert.
has a dragon on it. It's probably worth more.
Well, here's the Alan Lee, Roger Garland, John Howe, and Ted Naismith combined calendar from 1987, the year I graduated high school. Shh, shh, shh. I'm dating
I
myself.
was 7.
You're so
I know,
old.
gosh. I know, huh? Ugh.
1991.
Yeah, there's some really interesting art here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're showing Satine.
This is like a reveal.
We already went through
An
the. We
unboxing?
already went through some of these.
Now, John Howe admitted on his website that in the book, the characters are not placed in this place. They're not there, hiding under that tree root, because they haven't met the fourth hobbit yet. There's only 3 hobbits.
But there's 4 in there.
What?
That's right. He said, I was so visually impacted by Ralph Bakshi's film,
Oh.
which compresses the story and puts all the characters in this location. He's like, I started drawing this and painting this, and he ended up painting this for Peter Jackson, and Peter Jackson also copied this exact shot
Yep,
from
frame
Bakshi's
to
film.
frame. That was
Yeah.
in the trailer.
Yeah, that's right. So there it is, guys. Look at this. There. See? Hiding from the Black Rider.
Yeah, I read the books, but man, Ralph Bakshi's cartoon is one of my favorites. I
Oh,
must have watched that
we better show you this then.
dozens of times.
You're not ready for this.
Yay, it's the Ralph Bakshi calendar. And it's got some coolness in there, yeah. Okay, guys, this 1987 is a beaut. It's just a thing of beauty. Uh-huh. And it has the original poster board inside.
Yes.
And one of my
Oh,
favorite
wow.
Balrogs. One of my
That is-
very
Wow,
favorite
this
Balrogs.
is a whole different Balrog. You've never seen a Balrog
Yeah.
like this.
I like the shadowness of it. It's like he came out of the depths.
Yeah.
And
Shadow.
the fire
flame.
burns from within. him.
Yeah. That's their August. This is super good. So, all right,
Oh,
this
look at
calendar.
this. Look at those two together. This
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
Look at these guys. So that's
your ring
similar.
rates.
I wasn't alive for another 4 years. Oh boy,
Humans.
aren't we old?
Oh God, that is so beautiful.
That
cool?
Look at that.
By John Howe. John Howe would bring all of his talents to work for Peter
And he
Jackson,
probably
obviously.
did that in a day and a half.
Yeah,
That
he
guy
probably
is
did.
so stupidly talented.
Yeah. Thank you. Looking at this John Howe Black Rider.
Black Rider.
That's the best. That's one. You're right.
That's
that was
really
one of
good.
the best Balrogs ever.
Look at Focoena, you're right, that is an amazing
How
Balrog.
amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so this one, guys, since this is filled with great art and some really interesting mix, and there's nothing damaged about it. Oh, my favorite.
That was the scariest in the book. Like
It
of
is.
all
oh.
the things.
Oh, God, yeah.
That was the scariest.
Samwise underneath the
Piercing the spider.
The heaving
Who-
gut
who
of Shelob.
draws that? Who draws not the battle and not evading, but someone he actually drew the piercing of the spider. That's I
Yeah,
think
you see, it's like it's not even in yet. It's just
Yeah.
going in.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Badass.
This is a crazy bit of art. Look at those evil spider eyes that are all like, yeah, evil. Yeah, this is super cool. Okay, all right.
so-
So this one, guys, well,
the
I better not.
1987.
1987?
I have this. I
Oh,
have
I
this
love that.
animation cell.
You do?
I have
No
that
way.
exact
Treebeard?
animation cell.
Oh,
No,
that's
you have-
awesome.
Oh, I gotta show you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Satine Phoenix, one of our favorite artists.
I collect animation cells from Ralph Bakshi only. That's the only person. And I
Oh,
have
for
this
real? Oh,
exactly.
dude.
I'm telling you, I love. Yes, this is all amazing.
I'd value this at 75.
75 for that.
I like
Yeah.
it. We're moving up. Moving up.
75.
75.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
the
not gonna.
most expensive calendar. The 1987.
Yep.
Reagan was still in office.
Yeah, I'm not gonna undervalue these anymore since Oh, is this the one we were just talking about before? Or did we?
Sorry,
She
I
Lab-
interrupted your.
No,
logo.
you're part of it. Shelob should come with a trigger warning.
Yeah. Ooh, this is photorealistic.
Wow.
Look at that.
What?
Look at this. Look at the way the light.
That was not taken by a digital camera and smudged in Photoshop.
No.
And that was not a camera that was a photograph that was painted.
Painted
Like
in
it-
1991.
You know, like people take pictures and then they
You guys see
paint.
that?
Like,
And look.
no. This
Yeah.
is real originality.
This is amazing. All right. Well,
Wow.
I'm gonna check this out
I'm just
real
so-
quick.
Bye.
All the art is by John Howe. I know, really.
Oh wow.
Wow, another.
This is a very popular subject to be painted. Samwise and his heroism
Look-
is a favorite subject of
Look
all
at
these
the
painters.
circular look at the circular thing that just
It
points
just
to,
encompasses them.
points to the thing, and then his sword points right to the jaws.
Yeah.
So you have her sword
great.
pointing to his head, and his sword pointing to her head. You know, you have an and it's just this full circle. You could probably put one of those Pythagorean squares. What do you call those?
The golden.
Golden triangle
golden
thing.
yeah.
And this is one of the most iconic images.
Golden rectangle.
This image inspired Peter Jackson to hire John Howe. This is the single image, single-handedly, that made Peter say, "I need this guy to be on my art department." This is one of the most iconic images of Gandalf the Grey.
And that's just a tiny little paintbrush going.
It's fantastic,
I
isn't
wonder how
it?
big that is.
The original canvas? I
Does it
wonder.
say? No.
That's a good question. Does
Yeah.
it say at the back? Like,
No.
does it-
We're jumping ahead.
So, there's just so many really, really great images. So, for this John Howe, which represents some of his earlier work, oh yeah, please take a look. Well, let's do the 1991 calendar, and let's also value it at 70. 70.
Oh my god.
70.
Yeah, for the 90
Look
calendar.
at that dragon.
Yeah,
Dragon!
yeah, I know, huh?
That's my spirit animal.
That's cool.
Samawag.
Smwag. Okay, well, we're having a nice extended show today.
Well, you know,
But we're about
some
to-
of these are sealed. I feel like
We can't open
we
those.
can't. Oh,
No, you can't open these.
the 1989
Minimum 100.
Oh,
Min-
dude.
sealed,
If they're sealed, minimum 100.
and the corners are still clean.
Oh yeah, that's also.
There's no price tag sticker on it. There's no stickers or anything on this.
Wow. Okay, this will not be unzipped. See, we're not gonna unseal this. We're not gonna take this as shrink
So
wrapped.
based on your
perfectly
knowledge
shrink
of
wrapped.
the artist name,
Well, this art in this is the 50th anniversary calendar. See, there's Ted Naismith.
Amazing.
and
Ted
every
Naismith,
year
John
there's only
Howe, who
one
else is on
Tolkien
here?
calendar. That's why they call it the.
And then there's also
calendar.
Roger
There's
Garland
not a,
and
it's not
everybody
one of-
here.
It's the Tolkien calendar. It's only one.
Wow.
So every year the estate chooses one.
That's amazing.
Okay, I'm going to
Oh no, I forgot my.
look at this.
drink.
Because this is brand new and has never been opened, the 1988 calendar,
Yep.
and it includes 4 images, count them, 4 images
What do you mean?
from Professor Tolkien. See? There's original J.R.R.
What?
Tolkien
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
paintings
I
in
wanna
this
open
calendar.
that.
We can't open
You can't
it.
open it.
You know, nowadays they put all the previews on the back.
They do.
They put all the
No,
money.
yeah, but check it out. That's genius marketing.
It's true. But you know, Professor Tolkien was a very accomplished watercolorist, and he did lots of paintings,
And draftsman.
and he designed the original jacket art for his own books.
150. She's saying
Yeah.
$190 for that?
50th
Yeah, man, that's
anniversary
what
of the
I'm saying.
Hobbit
That's what
calendar.
I'm saying.
At
With
least
Tolkien's
150.
work?
With his
think?
work, but it's also. Yeah, see, those prices
100
sound. Because this is a collector's item, it's shrink wrapped.
It's the 50th anniversary shrink wrapped with Tolkien's
Mm.
artwork. Are we calling it at 175 or 190? 150, 175,
175.
175.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow, 175.
What a collection. All right, we're on, that was 1988. 1989, the next year up, still shrink wrapped. This is
Brand new, 1989.
no stickers, no price tags on it. This is a clean shrink wrap. The corners are still clean, so you
Mint,
can
that
tell.
qualifies as mint.
It is mint.
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 Mint in package.
There's
MIP.
not even any dirt on the plastic.
Yes, mint.
Yeah.
I should stop touching it.
No, you're clean.
It's so dirty.
That's funny.
So what should we price the 1989? You guys in the chat room, look at eBay. Look for the 1989 Tolkien calendar featuring Roger Garland. You know what's funny? We're just admiring this. They always
It's
use
the same picture.
every.
It's amazing.
Yeah. They use the same picture, and even on the back of the paperbacks, they use the same photo of the professor.
That
So for the
is
1989,
What do they say?
But you didn't like Roger Garland's work, did you?
I think Roger Garland's work is not quite as
That's mint. 89.
picturesque.
That's your birthday.
Happy birthday!
200. 200. You're saying 200 for.
I guess it depends on who the artists are, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I mean, like this. You know what this looks like?
Heavy
Mockingjay,
metal?
like Hunger Games. Doesn't
I
this look
wonder.
like?
We
Doesn't
should
this?
Yeah.
start some
Guess what launches tomorrow?
Doesn't that look like Hunger Games?
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
This is a total
I'm that
Hunger
annoying
Games.
person that right now is
70 or 80.
So for a 1989 sealed Roger Garland calendar that has never been opened, I guess I don't know. There's just a certain weirdness to his art.
200 for the one before.
Is this back?
200. Someone
Yeah,
wants us to go
back.
200 for the Mint 50th anniversary.
That's 50th anniversary of The Hobbit. It gets even weirder. When we get to this last calendar, it's the centennial edition of The Lord of the Rings.
Whoa, whoa,
That's
whoa,
the
whoa.
100
Is
year
that a
anniversary.
sticker? No, that's on the
And that's all
No,
Ted
it's
Naismith.
It's
Yeah.
mint.
Oh,
It's
$12 original.
Okay, guys.
Ah!
For this one, let's do
No picture
120.
on the back.
oh wait, is this
120?
live?
120 for this. Yeah,
Yes.
we're live. Yeah.
God.
120.
120?
120 for
No,
the
no,
1989
it's the
mint
chat room and
calendar. Okay.
Mint.
It's gonna go for 120.
All right, so this is the
Okay.
one we were just talking about. Go ahead.
So that original price was $7.95 or something like that, right? It's on the front.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
So if that, wait, and then
Yeah.
this
It was
one,
$7.95 for heaven's sake.
$7.95, and
Yeah.
then where's the other one? The other mint one. Is it this one?
Huh? That one's too.
Okay, so this one is $7.95,
Every-
$13.95 in Canada.
$10 in USA.
Okay, so if this one was $175, this has got to be at least $250. Because it's
Yeah.
almost twice as much.
The
Centennial.
It says centenary.
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 That's centenary. Yeah.
terrible
Okay.
words.
Centenary.
I need nothing to do.
Do you know what? This isn't. This celebrates the 100 years of Professor Tolkien, not the Lord of the Rings. It's Tolkien's 100 years old, or he would have been if he was still alive.
Oh.
This represents the anniversary, the 100th birthday of Professor Tolkien. It has a lot of great stuff on here. This is a great,
I know, right?
great
You
calendar.
can touch it. Just careful.
These are insane.
So the 1992 J.R.R. Tolkien calendar. There's only one Tolkien calendar every year. This is not it's the Tolkien calendar featuring all original work by single artist Ted Naismith.
Yeah.
Centenary, whatever.
Centenary.
Centenary.
I gotta go do my thing.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, my dear. We'll see you guys in just a little while.
What would you guys? $230. Someone says $230 for this. This
Well,
is
it-
mint in plastic. The corn. Look how
Mint
clean.
and shrink wrap, but it's not the centennial of the Lord of the Rings publication. It's the 100-year centenary birth date observing J.R.R. Tolkien's 100-year birthday, if he was still with us. So the 92 calendar, the centenary, gosh, what do you want to do?
Mint in plastic.
Mint in package. Well, gosh,
Are we saying 230? Are we saying 230 for the 1992
oh, is it centenary? Thank you, Emily. Centenary. But it's still mint condition. Yeah, so you know what? You might as well jump it up. Make it 100.
It does not have Tolkien. It does not have Tolkien illustrations in it.
It does not. No, that has
Pull it
all
down.
Ted Naismith.
Pull it down. Pull it down. She's saying, pull it down.
You know what? Since it doesn't have Tolkien's original illustrations in it, then bring it down to.
Should we bring up the Tolkien 50th anniversary? I think we gotta go.
Do you mean the 1988 calendar, which was the 50th anniversary of The Hobbit? They observe different anniversaries. It's either the Lord of the Rings anniversary or the Hobbit anniversary or Tolkien's birthday. It's one of those three. And that one you're talking about was the 50-year anniversary of The Hobbit. We only have a couple of calendars left to talk about.
What did we say for the 1992 Tolkien centenary?
For the 1992, I was going to say, there you go, 150. I agree with the real Zhao Long.
150.
150.
You know,
Okay, so that's that.
I'm making a call. I'm going 200 for the 50th anniversary.
You're gonna go okay.
It's got Tolkien's artwork in it.
Yeah, it does. Okay, bring it up. So we did.
I'm gonna go set up some lights and stuff.
And I've got to close the show, but we have one last calendar to talk about.
Keep going.
You did 86, right? 1986. Do. Yes. So now we're gonna do 93, also mint, and it is another artist. John Howe has been replaced by Alan Lee. There you go. This is Alan Lee's calendar, which means it is full of very soft lines, soft pencils, and a dreamy, really beautiful, dreamy quality. So let's do this 1993 Tolkien calendar, brand new, mint, in package, from the Dark Riders to the Siege of Gondor.
Shrink wrap.
It's shrink wrapped, as you guys know, shrink wrapped. See, look at that shiny shrink wrap. Brand new, with a very familiar picture of the professor here on the back. There he is. But the saint who was shot with the arrows was Saint Sebastian. That's correct. I did mention off the top of my brain, was it Sebastian? And nobody in the room said anything, but yes, thank you, Pippin. I appreciate that. You know what, guys, I'm sorry. I had Skype on, but Skype was actually logged into my personal account. And I'm going to go over here and we're going to let Emily dial in on Skype. I'd say this is 90 Spirited Book. I was just thinking a little less than 100. $90 for the 1993. And that is the end of our list of calendars. What a beautiful set of artwork. Awesome stuff. So let me sign in with a different account. And we only have 4 minutes, okay? We're gonna take all the stuff offline and say goodnight to everybody at theonering.net. But I will let someone come into Skype and say the goodnight to everybody. Let's do it. All right, I'm gonna log into Skype. You guys, this is some awesome stuff. These calendars with John Howe and all that sort of stuff, oh my gosh, super, super cool. Okay, sign in with Skype name, the One Ring Net, okay, and the password. Hope that works. Nope. Let me try this one more time. Does that work? It works. Skype is on. Thank you, everybody. You know, the real Zhao Long, I'm also intrigued by some of your fanfic. You've been bouncing some really funny ideas in the chat room today. We'll have to talk more about that later on another show. But now I'm online, getting a phone call from merry old England. Hello, love. Hello. How are you, love? Hello, dear. So nice to have you. Oh, Sarah. Sarah wants to call on Skype at the exact same time. Okay, so let's go right back in here. And,
I have this 1992 centenary edition.
oh, you do have the 1992. Oh, I'm going to show everyone at home.
It's a different version. It's on a ring.
Oh, you've got that same calendar on spiral bind. A spiral binder. How cool is that? Next week. Okay, cool. Oh, look. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, you can see some of the beautiful art in there. Oh, that's nice. Oh, those are really beautiful. Oh, and those are some familiar bits. I have seen those paintings before. Oh yeah, that one's cool too. And that famous swan boat, yeah. Okay, Pippin, we've only got 1 second because they have to start another broadcast. Hey, Omar, I think you guys are gonna start a little after 7, right? Yeah, okay. Look at that. Emily, you are so awesome, showing everybody your cool calendar. Yeah, that's another famous bit. You know what's intriguing? They've got the days of the month going down the side. Isn't that weird? There's all these paintings and they're over on the side of it. You know, the American wall calendar is so noticeably different. Right, Lauren, say hi to everybody. Say hi.
Hi, Internet.
Lauren Ipsum, say hi to theonering.net. Also a big Tolkien fan, right?
I grew up with the Bakshi.
The Bakshi, yeah. Did you see the calendar here?
Yes, I'm swooning over
Did you
it.
see the Bakshi calendar? Because there's some amazing stuff. Look on the very back, look in December, and you'll see a painting that was not used in the film, not used anywhere. And it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And it's so impressionistic, isn't
Are
it?
there prints of this anywhere?
No prints ever made of that, and it's a lovely
So this is
piece.
the only place it exists.
Yeah, that I've ever seen in public. Yeah.
How many copies of the calendar exist?
Oh, they printed, I'm sure hundreds of thousands back in the 70s.
I mean, still exists.
Still? Oh, good question. Good question. Your Hobbit poster collection. Emily, that is gorgeousness.
It's still shrink wrapped by Alan Lee.
Oh, really? 6 paintings by Alan Lee that you haven't even taken out of the shrink wrap? Now that's a collector.
That is.
That's a collector. Emily, how fabulous. You've got great stuff.
My Amiibos are still in their packaging. My Smell pop vinyl is still in its packaging.
Really?
My toys from the Hobbit. I'm a geek. I don't want to take it.
I know, me too. Oh no, that's okay, Pippin. I do want you to come into the show because you haven't been on the show in years. Emily, before we say goodnight, I want you to say goodnight, and we're going to do a second goodnight with our good friend Pippin, because Pippin hasn't been on the show in years. Say goodnight, goodnight from England.
For being here and seeing you all, and I will see you all next week.
Awesome. Yes, we'll see you all next week. Lovely, lovely to have you, my dear. Always excellent. Okay.
Speak to you next week, Cliff.
Bye-bye, love. Okay. Bye-bye, love. It's so good to have... Blimey, it's good to have those English folks on the show.
Beautiful accent.
That's just awful. It's a lovely holiday with Mary. I'm going to do the Dick Van Dyke stuff because that's the worst English accent ever in history. It was so ridiculous. Okay, hey, Sarah. There you are, dear. Come on into the show and let's say hello and good night. Good night, Emily. That was lovely to have you. Hey, how are you, Sarah? Pippin from Minnesota. Hey, Pippin from Minnesota. I'm going to show everybody at home. Hey. How you doing? So, are you ready to help us sign off on our show tonight? Sure. I can hardly hear you, and I've got my volume turned all the way up. Me and Lauren Ipsum, we're here. We're getting ready to start another segment that they're going to live broadcast. You guys are doing a live draw.
Yes.
With Draw Melt.
Yes, we have Megan Hutchinson on tonight.
Oh, she's very talented. Very talented.
Just announced a new comic.
Really?
That yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
described
cool.
as Almost Famous meets, oh my god, and I'm just forgetting the quote right now.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll get
Almost Famous meets Supernatural.
meet Supernatural.
Which I'm like, that sounds amazing, and I
That
really want to call
does sound amazing.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I'm so down. But before we even get there, we've had a long show. Did you know we went a half an hour longer than we usually go? Pippin, do you believe that? We usually only do 90 minutes. I know, here, let me do this. I'm gonna be like, clean that camera. That looks a lot better. That looks so much better now. Good to see you. So, how have you been the past couple of years? It's nice to see you. Yeah, well, I have a strange time warp in my head because I live in another dimension where time travels a lot slower. You know what I mean? So it has been quite a few months. It is really great to see you. You're looking well. You look great. You're looking really well. Are you ready to do the big sign off? Okay? We're going to do the big sign off, okay? You might have to turn the microphone up.
I don't know how to.
No, I'm talking to my sound guy in the background. Okay? So we can hear you, okay? We're going to put you up here to the microphone. Yay! We'll turn the tablet like this. There you are. See? No one can see. It's me. This is great.
Her face on your body.
Looking great. Yeah, hey, Yeah, there you go, Pippin. You can pretend to be your face on my body. This looks hilarious on camera, doesn't it?
It's perfect.
Just say good night, Gracie, and say we'll see you next week on Torn Tuesday. That's right. Well done. Well done, Pippin. Okay, I'm really glad you joined us, and we'll have a longer chat next week if we get the chance, okay? The life of a creature studentia. I can feel you. I can feel you.
Finals.
I can feel you. Okay, well, good luck, Hermione. 10 points for Gryffindor. Keep your head in the books. Bye. Lauren says bye. Oh, hey, Justin wants to say bye. It's Pippin. Hey, Justin, say goodbye to Pippin. He says bye. Look this way.
He's staring at the other screen that you're on.
It's great to see you. I'll talk to you next week or very soon. Good luck with all your work, okay, my dear? Bye for now. Great to see you again. Lovely.
They're asking if everyone here wears glasses. I wear contacts, so that's close.
Close enough, yes. I have on my driver's license a little mark that says C for corrected lenses, which means I cannot drive in the state of California.
Oh yeah, I can't either.
Without my contacts or my... But anyways, you guys are awesome. It's been a really wild show. How about that extra long half an hour of Tolkien talk? We've got all the nerd business going on. And if you guys want to check out these calendars, which Justin has amazingly procured out of the ancient mists of time, look on Shop XSN, okay? S-H-O-P, XSN, and I will leave you with my favorite. I love this. Isn't that...
I feel like this whole calendar is worth it just for this.
Isn't that
like,
cool,
just
though?
for that piece.
It's like a weird Rembrandt, like an impressionist Rembrandt of Frodo and Bilbo. And look at the blue glow on Sting,
I just can't believe it doesn't exist anywhere else. It's so sad.
And Gandalf is giving him advice, and there's this dynamic between them. I just love that.
This is really beautiful.
Yeah,
the colors are amazing.
There's a lot going on. Okay, yeah, you want to read bad fan fiction next week? Okay, well, that's tempting. That could be very tempting.
Based on this piece.
Based on this piece. Okay, you guys, here's your... I love you. She's given us... Lauren has given us the best idea for next week's episode, okay? Everybody out there, write a piece of fan fiction based on this image. Right here. See it? Gandalf and Frodo. This is so beautiful. This beautiful, very impressionistic painting from the 1979 Tolkien calendar. Write a piece of fan fiction about what these two characters are talking about and see where we go from there. And as always, thank you so much for joining me and our merry band of geeks. This is Lauren Ipsum, and that was Satine Phoenix and Justin Sewell, and I'm Clifford Broadway. Follow me on Twitter at QuickBeam2000, and where do we follow you?
Lauren Ipsum. It's Lauren with a Y.
Lauren, what's L-A-U?
R-Y-N.
R-Y-N. I-P-S-U-M. Boom. Lauren Ipsum at Twitter. You guys have a great night. And yeah, that's right, homework for you, Sarah. Just write a beautiful little 2 or 3 paragraphs of a short story about this extraordinary...
Double-spaced in MLA format, please.
That's right, because I think this is super awesome. Don't you guys think this is beautiful? All right, write a tiny little bit, and we'll read some of those fan fictions online, all right? Thank you, everybody. Good night to Spirited Book, Sarah, Emily, Hannah, Fokawena, Pippin of Minnesota, and the real Zhao Long. We love you guys. Good night.
Bye.
Stay tuned to Shop XSN for more mischief coming up in the next few minutes, and a live draw melt where they're doing live drawing right in front of your eyes, and it's going to be extraordinary. And Megan's artwork is
amazing.
Awesome sauce. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like this is my hobby, and then the podcast for the Game School podcast is a hobby.
Which one's... Oh, is that the D&D one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're live. Whatever. Hi guys.
Wee.
Welcome to Draw Melt. Satine Phoenix, and today we have Megan Hutchinson.
Hello.
Yeah, so Megan is this really amazing, whimsical, I guess, is what I like to think.
Sure.
Your art is.
like
Comic
that.
book artist. Well, you do a lot of things. Why don't you tell us what you do?
Yes, I draw comic books. I do fine art stuff. I make a mess, and I like to bake. So I bake too.
Do you ever bake and then put art on it and then make a mess and then eat it?
That's constantly what baking is, I feel like. It's just making a mess. But it's like this beautiful piece of art.
That was Francisco.
Hi, Francisco.
Cool. So, like when I go to conventions, well, pretty much I only see you at conventions or art gatherings since we're both working all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to your booth and you always have like amazing prints. Where do you find time between all the different jobs that you do to make these amazing pieces of art?
I wish I had more time because I actually really like doing that. But it's mostly, you know, if I have a couple hours to myself a week, I'll like bust one out. If I'm like into, you know, if something hits me, like I really want to draw this, then I'll bust it out. And, you know, I work small. I work in like nothing really bigger than that. So that kind of like lets me do a couple. So I'm not like totally bogged down with like a giant piece. I mean, that being said, I wish I had more time to do bigger pieces, but.
So you use watercolor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use anything else, or when you're?
I
pretty much only see you do watercolor.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of my thing.
No, it's cool. It's a good thing.
It's like
It's
I do
hard.
pen and ink. It's actually trade secret. It's actually gouache.
Ooh. Don't tell anybody.
Cat's out of the bag. But I tell people that come up and they ask me about it because they're like, I really want to get into watercolor, but it's so intimidating. And I feel like gouache is like the gateway drug because it's like opaque watercolor. So once you lay it down, you can kind of play with it.
So I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
I wish you would ask me. I would have
will
told you.
ask you more. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So if you just water it down,
Mm-hmm.
then it acts like watercolor.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Shoot.
And it lets you mess up more than watercolor does. Like watercolor, you do something and then you're like, oh shit, and then watercolor goes.
Yeah, because then the paper gets all messed up, and then it layers, and then it gets muddy, and then you
Yeah, it
can't
gets muddy
fix
really
it.
easily. Whereas with gouache, if you mess up, you can kind of like dab it out, or if you put water on it right away, you can actually blot it up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So trade
Yeah.
secret.
No, that's good. This is the kind of thing that prevents me from doing more watercolors because I don't like how often I mess up and can't control Z.
Yes. Well, that's the other problem too, because I used to work mostly analog, but now that I'm doing more comic book work, I work mostly digital. And so when I'm working analog and I mess up, I'm like, Command Z. I'm like, shit.
I do this. You just can't
You
help
you
it.
find yourself like mentally, you're just like, oh, why can't I just step back? It's so frustrating.
And in some other programs I'm using right now, there's Command Y. Like, I didn't like that. Oh, wait, I do like that. Do you use
Oh,
Command
isn't
Y?
that step forward? Yeah.
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 So
It's
it's
just me
like-
and hotkeys on my Cintiq. Just like, nah.
How big of a Cintiq do you have?
This big.
Yeah. You have to.
Yes.
Like, it speeds up the process.
Oh my god, so much. It takes me like half the time
Yeah.
to draw. Yeah. It does. I try it. I have to remedy this somehow, but so I'm doing a cover that I was telling you about, and I printed it out, like I printed out the blue lines because I was going to ink over it because I need more stuff to sell at conventions
Yeah.
because that's the problem I'm running up against.
Like more originals.
Yeah. And so I sat down on my drawing desk, started drawing. I'm like, can't do it. And I just like went back on the computer and I was just like, doop-a-doo, and done.
Well, now they have print to canvas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie, I use it.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
as long as you make one or
Yeah.
make multiples, whatever, and then sell it for, you know, less than an original. But
Yeah.
I,
Well, and you see more and more people do it, and I've had conversations with people at conventions. Like, I was just at Emerald City, and I was talking to a couple. It was fun. I think I'm still hungover. I was talking to other artists there about this, because I had some signings, and that's what they were kind of telling me. It's like they're kind of veering more that way. But I don't know. I mean, I love original art so much more.
Well, you have prints for sale at your booth, but the paper that you printed on, like, if I hadn't walked over to your booth and shuffled through your art and realized that they were prints, I wouldn't have known.
Oh, thanks.
Like, the paper is such good quality.
Watercolor paper.
I need to talk.
I'll give you
I need
the name of my
Yeah,
printer.
I do need one now.
They're
Because
amazing.
it makes a big difference.
It
'Cause
really
people
does.
want the quality. They don't want something that's printed on photo paper. Most people that go to conventions, I think, are collectors.
Yes, that's true. Well, you get like two demographics. You get collectors who are, you know, like more the big money, you know, that want like original pages, original pieces of art. They want commissions. But then you get people that are just fans and just love having like sparkly, shiny things and just love the culture, you know. And so, you know, you can sell like a lot of prints. If they're high quality prints, people just eat them up.
Yeah. Okay, so we've kind of went on about the background. Tell us what you, like, your books that you've done. Your products. Your thingies.
Well, my background's actually in film. So I used to make movies. I was an art director. And then a couple years ago, I got a publishing deal with Boom. Or they were Archaea at the time, and now they're Archaea with Boom.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that.
yeah,
Okay.
they were bought out 2 years ago.
Okay.
So we have a book with them called Will o' the Wisp. That's like a
It's
white.
amazing.
Oh, thank you.
It has a lock.
It does. It's real
It
fancy.
has like that. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty book. We get a lot of compliments on it. So it's like a gothic Nancy Drew. I have a book coming out in a couple months called Vesna. It's like a gothic Mad Max.
Oh, cool.
So it's just violence and aliens, violence and demons, and the occult, and gore.
And you posted something about that
Yeah.
on your Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Where can we find you on Instagram?
It's at @blackm_art. Pretty sure. Yes.
So why?
I should
So
have
you're
it
Black
memorized by
M
now.
on like
On everything.
Where'd you get that? Are you a little goth girl right in here in your heart?
I don't think it's like hidden very well. It's pretty apparent. No, long story short, I was like trying to come up with like an art name. I wanted like a street name because I wanted to start tagging shit.
I'm not laughing
I was
at you.
angsty.
That was weird, but
Why?
I was laughing at you. I wasn't laughing at you. It sounded like I was.
You can lie. I don't care. My feelings aren't hurt. No, but I was trying to come up with a tagger name, and like a friend of mine who owned an art gallery, she's like, "Well, you should call yourself M, like EM." I'm like, okay. And then she's like, "But then, you know, do like a color, like black." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So that just kind of like stuck around. And then what happened was that like it became like kind of my origin story when I was going through this like really deep change of life. Like my whole world just like flipped on its head. And so I started associating with it because it was like kind of like this thing that I could hold on to. And then that kind of defined how I came out the other end. Because a couple of years ago I was very unhappy.
I've only known you happy.
That's because you met me during my transition.
Yay! Well, I love who you are now.
Thank you. I love who you are always.
Duh. Enough about us. More about you. All right, so let's go further back into your origin story.
Oh gosh.
So, what was it like growing up with art in your heart?
I always drew, but when when I was applying for schools and stuff, I was like, I should probably do something with my, like, I should get a degree or something. I don't know. You know, when you're that young, you're just like, I don't know. And like, I come from a family of engineers, and it was like I had no guidance, and I was just like, I'm going to go get a degree in something kind of creative. So I actually got a degree in graphic design. And then I was like,
cool.
I don't know what to do with this. And like, I actually grew up in the theater. So people that know me from like junior high and high school, I used to do a lot of theater. I used to sing and dance and act.
Oh my goodness. Do you have any on tape?
The hidden.
I really
This was
want-
pre-internet. I mean, it wasn't pre-internet,
Yeah.
but it was pre like all
Pre-MySpace and
yeah,
Facebook
all
and
this
everything.
all this shit. Yeah, like MySpace just came out like when I was in college because now you know how old I am. But so luckily I know a couple people that have like DVDs of me as Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz.
Oh my goodness. We need to have like a wine night. Where we can just hide behind the couch laughing at you on screen.
Oh god, the horror. Part of me is masochistic enough that I actually would really enjoy that. Just being like, what? Like just reliving it, like PTSD.
Well, I have some too. So we'll do like one of yours, then a snippet of mine, and then another one of yours.
Oh my gosh. Do you want to do? But I'd have to be.
kinda do.
I might have to be real drunk to get through that.
You know, I haven't been really drunk around you, I think, in a very long time.
Are you
so-
sure?
I don't know. Maybe that's not true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we should do that.
Okay.
So graphic design is like art engineering.
It is, and I think that's why I went into it. My mom's also, she came up through as a graphic designer, and she was an art director for an ad agency, and
Oh wow,
yeah, she was Peggy Olson from Mad Men.
that
That was her,
cool.
because she was the first female art director at McCann Erickson in South Africa. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wait,
That's
is that
the
where you're
start.
from?
My parents are, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of had it in my blood, but I didn't know because I kind of wanted to do science, and I wanted
You're creative.
creative,
Everything
and I just
interests
don't
you.
know how that falls, and so it took a really long time to like find myself where I am. But I keep telling people that too, because I have people that come up to my table and they're like, "Oh, I really want to draw, and like, I want to be an artist," and I was like, "It's never too late, just do it." And it took me a really long time. Like, I had a whole other career before I started doing this. I was working in the film industry for 10 years.
So how did you get into? So you went to college for graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
How did you go transition from graphic design to film?
I went to film school.
Oh, so wait, you did
I did
graphic design at film school?
No, I did graphic design first at UCLA, and then I did grad school at AFI. And,
Oh, cool.
and then straight out of that, just started making movies. And
Neat.
then, like commercials, music videos, and stuff like that.
What's your big thing that you've worked on? Well, no, I'm not going to say it like that. Like, what's the thing that you like doing the most?
Music videos were my favorite,
Yeah?
but there's like no money, and they take a lot of, it's like making a mini movie with no money. But they are generally the most creative, and like working with other artists, like working with, musicians it's just so much fun. Because
That sounds
they really just
exciting.
kind of like, depending obviously on the artist, but like they kind of just let you be free. So it's a lot more fun. But I've also worked with some really amazing directors on like commercials, so it really just depends.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But you're still doing that.
Yeah, slowly transitioning out of it.
Now, because you have so many different interests, are you feeling that as you're getting older and as you have more experience in all the different worlds, that you're trying to focus, or are you enjoying the fact that you are so multi-talented that you can do different jobs?
I don't know if I'm multi-talented as much as I just am like ADHD.
Professional ADHD.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't want to have more than just one job. I want to have 12. I feel like eventually they'll all like tie together. Like my next, I'm gonna stay in publishing, because I have like the image series coming out and stuff like that. So, but
Wait. Can you talk about that? You can't
yes.
talk about
Oh
that.
no, I can now.
Yes.
That's right, because it got announced.
You had to get used to it too.
I'm so used to hiding it from people because I'm like, can't talk about it. So yeah, it's a series called Rockstars. We just announced it on Wednesday at Image Expo. It's awesome with Joe Harris, who is amazing. He's a rock star. But yeah, we are looking at a winter release for that, and it's going to be an ongoing series. So it's like
Wow.
it's like a demonic rock and roll mystery with like a little bit of Scooby-Doo in there.
How fun.
Yeah, it's super awesome, and there's a lot of demon orgies, so I'm happy.
I'm in.
Yeah. Don't have to ask me twice.
Who's the main character? Can you talk about it at all, or?
Yeah, well, there's two main characters. I guess the lead guy is Jackie, who his dad was, like, very involved in, like, the rock and roll scene of the 70s, which is kind of the backdrop of the story. So it's like, you know, when you, like, read about, like, the lore of rock and roll back then, you know, and, like, people, like, doing demonic possessions and orgies and, you know, like, if you play this album backwards.
Anton LaVey
Yeah,
style.
yeah. You know, and, like, hidden messages and shit like that. So we're definitely playing on that. And so, and you have, like, two timelines running simultaneously. So you have Jackie in current day following the timeline that was set out by his father in, like, the 70s.
Cool.
So, and, like, how it all ties together and how, like, rock and roll is actually, like, controlled by, you know, the devil.
Wow, that is
Satan.
so cool. That sounds really exciting.
Oh, it's so fun. And, like, we're doing, like, every series arc is going to be a different genre. So we're starting out with, like, the 70s, you know, like, kind of Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. And then, like, we're going to move into 80s. We're going to move into the punk movement. Genre looks about, you know. Wow. So we're going to explore, like, different aspects of music.
Now, is the art going to change slightly for that? Or are you just going to... I mean, you have a very distinct style. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how are you going to approach the change in music time and genre?
I think, you know, depending on what it is. So, like, you know, right now it's definitely a little more psychedelic than what I usually do. But then it's going to move, you know, like, as we go into, like, the punk movement, it's going to be grittier, you know. So it'll change a little bit like that. But I don't want it to be, like, too disruptive so people are... Yeah.
So I know most of us... I've probably done, like, 10 of these interviews now, and pretty much everybody says they use reference. Do you use reference?
Oh, yes.
So how are you going to get... Like, how will you approach reference to a book, a series like this?
I just do a lot of image research. Well, especially, like, right now I have to do, it's like rock and roll. So it's like, I have, like, a whole folder full of, like, old vintage rock and roll photos.
Oh, cool.
So kind of just, like, pulling bits and pieces from kind of everyone. If it's something tough and, like, fight scenes and stuff, I usually have people come in and, you know, like, model for me.
Yeah.
And by people, I mean me and my boyfriend, like, fighting each other. You know, or something like that. Or, like, I'll get someone to come over and, you know, if it's, like, really tough stuff. And, like, also for covers, I do that, too.
Cool. So you work for yourself, basically.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have a morning ritual or a daily ritual to get yourself motivated, or something that you do every day to get you in the mindset of making art and not slacking off?
Oh, yeah. No, that's a really good question. Because it is really hard to work for yourself and to work from home for yourself, because you could just be like, nah, fuck it. But, you know, I get up really early, you know, make coffee.
How early is early?
Between, like, around 6:30.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so early.
I mean, and that's, like, and I know people, like, some people get up at, like, 5, but 6:30 is, like, it's taken me years to get to this place, because I am not a morning person. But because I make myself get up that early, I kind of feel like the morning is my time. So it's like I make coffee and I eat breakfast and do my crossword puzzle, because I'm a 90-year-old woman trapped in this body. I have to do my crossword puzzle in the morning. You know, and so then I've had that time to myself, and then, like, I take a shower, I go upstairs, and I work. And then I just, you know, you just treat it like a job. And then, you know, at a certain point, I stop, I go to yoga, and come home, make my boyfriend make me dinner, start all over again.
Well, he's good. He's a chef, right? Or he was?
No.
Or he wasn't?
No.
He
no, he's a
cooks.
filmmaker. He's just a really good cook.
Cooks, yes.
And I'm terrible at it.
I think I've heard you mention him cooking a lot, so I'm like,
oh yeah,
he must be a chef or something.
No, I mean, I joke about that, because it's just like, he loves cooking, I hate cooking, and he's really good at it. So, like, I'm like, are you gonna make me dinner? I know.
That's kind of an amazing life.
I'm happy with it.
You look really happy. You look so happy.
Really? And
Yeah.
not, like, totally tired and hungover.
Well, no, it's different. You can be happy and tired and hungover.
Which is what I am right now, so that's good. I'm glad. I'm
Yes.
glad it's coming across.
I don't know. I feel like as an artist, if you're exhausted, you're doing a good job.
I am actually invigorated with how tired I am. You know, like I'm like, oh, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even, yeah. Again, if you're an artist, you're probably masochistic. So it's like when you're like not, if you're like rested, you're like, what's wrong? Like I'm doing something wrong.
That's how I feel.
I know.
I seriously feel that way.
That's why we're all insane.
Yeah, what everyone listening and watching can't tell is how like stuttery and blinky I was to get out of the mindset of all the letters that I've been looking at all day in order to be here right now having this conversation.
You just have to like,
Yeah.
you look good, girl.
Oh, you. Well, it's really awesome to like have you on here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so
Girl talk.
Girl talk.
Let's discuss.
So you probably get a lot of emails or people at conventions like asking you for advice. So here's a two-parter.
Okay.
What is the most common question you get asked? And then separate from that, what kind of advice would you give somebody who like, no matter what age they are, you would give advice about art to? Something in that question manner. Put that into a question in your head.
So what do I get asked the most about is how I started. And because I think a lot of creative people that go to comic book conventions are kind of like, they're exploring perhaps doing that themselves. So there was just a lot of trial and error. And there was also a lot of people helping me along the way. But it was also me asking for help, too. Like, when I decided that, you know, I wanted to do this book, I started asking people that I know, and I started putting myself out there. And, you know, eventually, you know, started networking and getting to know people. But also, I think the bottom line is, which kind of ties into the second part of the question, is you just got to do it. Are we allowed to swear? I've been swearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
'Cause like there has to be a point where you're just like, fuck it, this is what I'm gonna do, and it's really scary, and it took me a really long time to get to that place, and until like I had enough, and you know I was like, fuck it, this is what I'm doing now, and not really being afraid of. That was the other thing. You can't really be afraid of like putting yourself out there, you know, and I was terrified for a really long time. And even now, like, I have so many friends that are so talented. And I'm like, I can't even, you know, like Jason, you know. It's like I went over to his studio. I'm like, I quit.
It's Jason
like,
Sean Alexander.
Oh, Jason Sean Alexander, who is, you know.
Yeah.
He's an artist. And you go over, you see his work, and you're just like, I can't.
I
even-
quit.
Yeah, I can't even compete. But the thing is like, you can't think that way. And you have to, like, mentally, you just have to decide that that's just not, you're done thinking that way, and you just keep going for it, and you don't look back.
It's kind of like what I learned in art school. It's about, like, you know, in every class, there's going to be the guy who's better than everybody by yards, you know, by miles. But it's not a competition. It's almost, it's a creative competition in that it gives you something to strive for or to learn from. Mm-hmm. But not a, like, because he's doing it better, you shouldn't do it. Because everyone's art. So, like, we're sitting and I'm looking at all this art in this comic shop right now, and there's so many different styles and so many different levels of artists that, like, you just can't compare one to the other.
You can't. No, and that's a really good point, too, is that, you know, there's an ass for every seat. So just because
I'm gonna shirt that.
I worked for this guy who used to do porn. Like, he used to, like, be a porn director, and he's the one that told me that, and I was like, that's the best thing I've ever heard. That's the thing, too. It's like, if you're scared, like, I was scared for a really long time because when I was a kid, I wanted to draw, like, comic books. Because, you know, like, in the 90s, that's, like, there was only comic books, you know?
It was, like, fine art or comics.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, and, you know, so it's like everything kind of had that, like, comic book style. And, you know, I tried that as a kid, and I was like, I can't do this. But I always drew kind of my own way. And then when I got older, you know, obviously there were people that were kind of, like, leading the way with that, with, like, doing different styles. But, you know, as I got older, I was like, oh, well, I can do that. It just, like, it wouldn't look like this. It would look like me, you know? And so I started just doing it. And I think that there are people that are afraid, too, that they're like, I'm not, you know, conforming to one thing or the other, or my shit's too weird or whatever. And it's like, there's someone out there that's going to enjoy it. So you should just do it.
Yeah, your style is so unique, and it's really exciting as your friend to, like, hear that you're doing a series, an ongoing series, that someone, like, looked at your stuff and was like, that is so rad. I'm going to hire her to do a long-term project. Like, that is so freaking cool. I can't even tell
I'm trying not to overthink it.
Don't overthink it. Just
No.
flail. Just flail.
No, that's, yeah.
I'll flail for you.
Thank you. I'm like, nah.
Well,
I'm flailing on the inside.
Because you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's still a career.
But that's the other thing, too, is, like, people don't understand how much work it takes and how much sacrifice it takes to do what we do. You know?
They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know.
My parents don't know. My parents are like, why are you constantly working? And, like, you're sleep deprived. And it's just like, because you don't know. Like, I don't get a 9-to-5 job. This is, like, everything in me is this, you know?
As an artist, you work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sitting here talking, being around each other, we're absorbing each other's creative energy. That's working.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we go hang out at a bar or whatever, our eyes are absorbing all the humans
All the
around
time.
us.
Yeah.
And it's all work all the time.
It does not help with the ADD.
I think ADD helps it.
Yeah, I think so, too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't smoke pot or anything because it makes me too, like, it slows me down to a point where I'm just like, I'm missing out on things that I could be learning right now.
Oh, that's funny. I can't because I just get really paranoid.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun.
And I'm just like, why does my skin feel weird? What is this? I hate this color. Why does this color hate me?
Yeah, that's not a good
I can't even
feeling.
take Advil, so, you know, it's like all that shit. But I do consume a healthy amount of alcohol.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's good to exercise your liver.
Well, I'm South African and Scottish, so, you know, there's
So
no
it's in
hope
your
for me.
blood.
It's in my blood. Started drinking when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I'm Italian, half Italian, so
Yep.
it's,
You
they're
know.
like, have wine with dinner.
Exactly.
In your bottle, put a little thing. You have your tooth loose? Why don't we rinse you out with 181? What the
Perfect.
fuck?
Perfect. You're like, this isn't hard at all.
Let's talk a little bit about the tools of your trade. We talked about watercolor.
Mhm.
We talked about the Cintiq briefly.
Mhm.
What programs do you use?
Photoshop.
Really?
Mhm.
You haven't used Manga Studio yet?
I don't like it.
Really?
I don't. I tried it for a while, and I don't like it. I found, here's another little trick of the trade. So Mike Huddleston, he sent me a bunch of Photoshop brushes.
That's the key, man.
And for him, too, he was like,
Oh,
I hated it. I hated drawing on the computer until an artist friend of his sent him Photoshop brushes. So it really is, like, your tools. And like, that was a game changer for me, especially because, like, my style's, like, very painty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so, like, drawing digitally was really difficult for me for a really long time because I'm like, this has nothing to do with me. But since he sent me these brushes, I'm like, yep.
Please send me brushes.
Boop, 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 boop. Remind me, I'll send them to you.
Because that's why I went to Manga, is because I liked the way the program ran,
Mm-hmm.
and because like the Photoshop always had a slight little lag to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the files on Manga seemed to be lighter. Like it was easier. I would save it. Wouldn't take very long. So
I have the opposite problem.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, later we'll talk about this
Okay.
more because I'm really fascinated that you're having such a good time on Photoshop.
Mm-hmm. I love it. You know, and then I'll import like painty things and splotches
Oh,
and
really?
splashes and stuff, and like layer them on. Yeah, to
Now,
kind
do
of
you
like
just
keep that.
pull them from the internet, or do you like go to a site specifically to get them?
It depends on what it is. For like splats and stuff, there's like a texture site that I usually go to. But for like my watercolor washes, I paint them and scan them.
Okay, that's pretty cool because it's easier for you to just do that than make it up digitally.
Yeah.
And then you just it's like a. So I'm guessing you like lay it like layer inks over it.
Mhm. Yep.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Exactly.
That's so cool. Wow.
Yeah.
So then you get to still paint.
A little bit. Yeah.
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 I'm still trying to figure out how to make things look like watercolor.
It's never going to.
Yeah.
You know, like the technology's not good enough yet. And I've tried some other programs that have been like, you know, I've read reviews online. They're like, oh, this is more like watercolor. So I tried it. I'm like, so, like, hell it is.
I love that sound.
I make that to myself at least twice a day.
So, where can we find you on the internet, and where are you going? What conventions are you going to be at? Where can people stalk you?
People
in person and online.
So online, everything's at Black BLACKEM_art. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think it's / It Came From Gallifrey. Girl, we have to talk about the season finale of Doctor Who.
Oh my God! How did you even get that?
I got it before you. No, but seriously, we have to talk about the season finale. Because I just watched it in Goosebumps. Like the whole, like the two-parter.
Are we the Christmas special?
No, the two-parter. The Hell Sent, Heaven, or Hellbent, Heaven
Oh,
Sent.
yes.
Heaven Sent, Hellbent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are obsessed with Doctor Who.
Just FYI.
It's like a thing.
Yeah. It gets real nerdy. So that's where you can find me on the internet. And then I'm doing Denver. It depends. Rose City, New York, San Diego. San Diego, though, I'm not tabling. I'm just going to be wandering around doing signings.
Oh, wow. Cool. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Are you doing San Diego?
Yeah, I got a booth, so I have to be there forever now. Otherwise, I lose it, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean,
But now it's 5 days.
What?
Well, it starts on, like, Wednesday.
Yeah, it always has.
I know. I can't.
Oh. I love it. This is like my Burning Man.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Except for last year I had the concussion, so
yeah, that's right.
I went and worked and just went home every night. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
Yeah, we
here,
didn't
I
party.
made it.
Talk about next time we're going to get drunk together.
We're gonna get drunk there.
San Diego! There might be a convention or two thrown in there, but it really depends. I have a lot of work to do. But New York's going to be the big one because we're actually going to have copies of Rockstars.
Yeah.
And then Rose City, I'll have copies. Oh, and Kamikaze. I will have copies of Vesna.
Cool. And so you'll post all that stuff on your Facebook.
Oh, yes.
So just
Yeah,
follow
yeah.
her on Facebook.
Yep. Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. There's other things, but I don't believe in them.
Know. I just have one point to all of them.
Oh, yeah.
So like my Facebook and my Twitter or my Instagram, I can post to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Because,
You have to, otherwise it
Shit
takes
takes
up
so
all
long.
your time.
I know.
I have this fantasy that I'm gonna I'm gonna hire somebody and then they're going to just type things that I tell them to type.
I have that fantasy too.
Can you just do the thing?
Oh,
I don't have time.
I was talking to Jim Mahfood. I'm like, let's get an assistant for all of us.
Holy shit!
Oh God!
That is like the best idea. How,
You know?
Oh my God!
And like we can all
I
like
know, this
chip
is
in,
good.
you know, to like, and it would be like a subscription service for all of us. You know, and this person would just be like posting shit for us all the time and updating all of our social medias.
Oh my God! You broke my brain.
Taking pictures of us, because I'm terrible at that.
This is such a good idea. And we always
Maybe they
go to
could
the
give me,
same
like-
events too.
Yeah, I know. That's
So
what I'm
we
saying.
had one person to
And
rule
they
them
can,
all.
yeah, and they can do all these cons and get us coffee.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna
Let's
find
do
someone.
it.
If anyone wants a job, we've just made a job for you. So
And you'd work with some really fun, cool artists.
that's right. And we all go to the same parties pretty much. So
Yeah.
it's not like they have to really spend their time traveling too much.
Let's do it.
All right.
It'll be fun.
So write us at satine@newpraetorians.com if you want a job. With money involved, right?
There would be money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would just figure out, depending on like how many of us.
It'd be like the Hulu of helpers. It'd be like $10 a month from like probably more, but from a bunch of people. It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Want to draw?
Heck yeah.
Okay, we're gonna draw now.
Okay.
So we're gonna take a little break, set up everything, get Lauren Ipsum in here, and we're gonna start in a second. So
Cool. Bye.